Episode 40 of Consistently Above Averages here. We have a much revered guest, a very requested guest. This is our video episode as well. It'll be on YouTube. You can watch the two of us here. If you're listening on audio, thanks very much. Sit down for the next little while. I'm joined by fan of the show.
Yep.
Local Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu commentator.
Yep.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Yeah.
David
Keep
Gray,
going.
interactive superstar.
Yep.
The best ground fighter in County Wicklow.
Arguably not, man. Arguably not anymore. Not anymore.
And self-proclaimed your favorite coach's favorite coach.
Yeah, your favorite coach's favorite coach. Exactly.
Christopher P. Leddy joins us here. Chris,
Andrew,
thanks very much. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me, Andrew.
What's going on this Saturday? Tell us first.
Nothing really, Andrew. No classes in our gym on a Saturday. Typically, all going well. I would be training in Dunleary in Darragh and Marcus's gym on a Sunday, but I am a wet 7 weeks after my second low back surgery, so I have a long road of recovery ahead of me till I can get back training. So at the moment, it's just coaching that I'm doing.
So instead of going into your how did you get involved in jiu-jitsu, this is the area that I wanted to start on. Most recently, you had the same back surgery, I think, for the second time in 5 years. We'll start with this first of all. When you started to recognize maybe the symptoms of it again, were you quicker to try and get it addressed and to set the wheel in motion, or what was the process like? Was surgery the last option, or what did you think?
The first time around, it was the last option because I had never gotten a surgery before. I had a surgery on an ingrown toenail from my Adidas Predators being too small when I was 15 or 16.
But when they were pressed, you'd feel like you could have better control and touch of the ball.
Oh, yeah, you need them snug, you need them snug. But I had never gotten a surgery before, and I had always put a lot of stock and faith in just resting or going to see a professional or getting a massage or something like that. I had never had an injury that, well, excuse me, I had many injuries that probably did require medical intervention, but especially in the early days of me training jiu-jitsu, I was very broke. I didn't have insurance. So there's probably some long-standing issues that never went addressed. But as I became older, I never had, thankfully, an issue that required a visit to the hospital. In 2020, I developed this like really bad sciatica, which is caused by disc problems in the low back, but the pain was not in the low back. It's very much a leg problem. Really debilitating pain, like 20 out of 10 at its worst. And I tried to do everything imaginable except get a surgery, because I kind of understood, especially for a jiu-jitsu person, like a back surgery, almost like a death sentence in terms of your training in the future, but eventually got it looked after. It took me a long time to recover. The first time, I was almost 1 year after the surgery before I was back training and competing and stuff, which was a long time for me. It's the longest I've actually ever taken away from jiu-jitsu, because there was the year previous to the surgery where I was screwed for a year, like a year of bad pain. And then there was the year after the surgery of recovering. Then I had a fantastic 4.5, 5 years of zero problems. I obviously did an incredible amount of work outside of jiu-jitsu to allow myself that opportunity. But yeah, then in January this year, I went to the Europeans and I was staying with Darragh, my coach. And I remember I got off the plane. He was already there because he was coaching some white belts. And I got off the plane. It was in Portugal, I think, this year, wasn't it? And Darragh speaks Portuguese. And I asked him, I texted him saying, how do I ask for like strong ibuprofen in the chemist here? Because I just felt a bit funny getting off the plane. I competed, everything was fine. Didn't recognize it as a reoccurrence of the sciatica or anything like that. I just felt a bit weird. Competed not very well, unfortunately. Well, I did okay. The other guy was just better than me.
Yeah.
Did all right. But the other, I actually, to be honest, I don't know what I could have done differently except not be in that division. I was just out. The guy was incredibly strong versus me. I actually remember saying to Darragh in the lead up to it, right, if I get this position, if I get that position, I'm going to be really happy. Darragh had competed against this guy before 3 or 4 times. And I think he bet Darragh once and Darragh bet him the rest of the times. And Darragh said, look, he's a good wrestler. He's good half guard, but I like half guard too. And I said, right, if I get to my turning pass position on the top, I'm going to be happy. And I got the turning pass twice on top. And he managed to, I think people call it like a Shaolin sweep, where you like roll over backwards. He basically just finessed me twice from that position, even though that was my best position. So that I didn't do well, but I did what I was trying to do, and it just didn't work. So what can you do? But anyway, post that, I kept training when I came home. My back did feel a bit shit, but I was doing my rehab that I knew about, and I was kind of being careful with my volume of training and stuff. And then my student Zara was on Polaris, and a bunch of us went to Polaris. It was the USA Europe teams thing as well. So a bunch of us went, but obviously all of us that went wanted to like watch the thing as well. And my back was feeling kind of shitty. And I was like, I didn't really push the envelope as hard as I should have, but I was like, guys, can someone else warm up with Zara? Because my back doesn't really feel good here. And I didn't want to give her shitty warm up because my back wasn't feeling good. And maybe this is just such an Irish thing, because I was like, I always do this. I'm like, oh guys, can anyone help me here? But it's grand if you can't. But it's grand, but you know what I mean?
No
So
bother
like,
not.
Exactly. So everybody was just like, well, he said no bother if not. So everybody said it's not their fault. It's my fault for not communicating that I probably shouldn't have done this. Warmed up with her, was trying to give her a lot of like the looks that somebody in her division, and she was fighting that girl, Selma Vick, I think is her name. I was trying to give her a bit of a flexible look with the guard. I was circling my feet a lot. And, that was actually the last roll that I did.
Really?
Yeah. So whatever month Polaris was, that's the last roll that I did. Because after that, I was like, wow, I'm screwed here.
But
and
just on that, from what you know now, and I want you to still continue this timeline, that roll could have happened on Monday morning in the gym. Your body was at a point there where it was probably going to require a surgical intervention.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not as if you had just not trained from that point on and done X, Y, or Z that you would have avoided.
Yes. No, I don't think so. And I believe the reason that I had to have the second back surgery is because I had the first back surgery. And there is, like, I think the number is 7, but there's a 7 to 10. There's a percentage chance that if you have the surgery that I did, which is called a microdiscectomy, they basically give a low taper, short back and sides to the disc, a low taper fade. And I've been using the analogy with people that, like, I had a puncture in my tire. I went to the mechanics. They don't give you a new tire. They give you a repair on the tire, do you know? So there's a percentage chance that you will require the same surgery again. And every time you get the surgery, there is that same chance again, do you know? Now, I feel much better post-surgery this time than I did the first time, which is unusual because speaking to the surgeon, he told me it's usually the opposite way around. I think what is different this time is it was really bad pre this surgery, like really bad. But it was, if it's even possible to imagine, infinitely worse the first time, because I just persevered. I was so scared of getting the surgery, basically. Whereas this time, in such a long run around answer to your question, yes, I was kind of like, okay, shit, I'm going to need to get a surgery here. And I was open to it. And I wasn't scared of it this time. I was frustrated because I'm like, oh, right, here we go again, do you know? But I recognized it so much sooner, and I was like, right, let's go. Let's just get this done. It's possible to rehab these things without a surgery, of course, but it frustrates me when when people use that as like a black and white thing. It's like, of course it's possible, but like, am I willing to risk my years that I have left of like, I'm not too young, I'm 36 now, but like, do you know what I mean? Am I willing to risk another year or two potentially chasing my tail to just push down the line something that is inevitable anyway? You know, I don't know. I think it's possible to recover either way. I think that for my own body, it was necessary. So it kind of pisses me off when people are like, "Oh, well, did you not try? There's a great guy down in exactly. There's a great guy down in Smithfield, and he's fantastic. I saw him on TikTok, and do you know what I mean? Magic Hands Jimmy. Do you know who he is? Have you seen him on TikTok?
No, but have we ever talked about the horse doctor from Dundalk?
No. Which one?
Yeah, I have a friend who's a physio who had been training to become a physio for like that's what he wanted to be doing. And I told him about the horse doctor. Now it was a jiu-jitsu black belt that we both know who recommended the horse doctor to me, and he passed on his details. He's like, "How do you not know about Paddy? He's from Dundalk." Now Paddy was an equine doctor, I believe, back in the day, and
he lost his license. He lost his equine license due to reasons we can't go into.
Well, I'm not like, I will admit I felt significantly better after going to him. I had a problem with my knee at one point, and I went to him, and I went to his house, and I was expecting there to be like a table and whatever, and he literally just got me to sit down in a chair, got me to stand up, got me to like squat, and then sit back down in the chair, jammed his thumb behind the back of my kneecap, and then searing pain for about 5 seconds, and then he's like, that's fine, that's done. And I went back to him another time with something wrong in my foot from eating a footlock for too long or something like that. And then he stabilized it in his hand, drove his thumb into the side of it, and the loudest crack that has ever come out of it. And he's like, that's fine. It'll be sore for the next 12 hours. But I think it was like just very manual type manipulation. Now, definitely not the right thing. He's also
well, if it worked.
Too old to work, too old to drive now. Do you know what I mean? But one of the strongest hands I've ever come across. When we're not on the air, I will pass you on more information about the horse doctor. You should have gone to him.
Yeah, I should have gone to him. Yeah, I'm frustrated now that you didn't tell me about it.
The thing that I was curious about, because I had I don't know whether it was a bat signal or a sixth sense or whatever. I had thought maybe you were a little bit more worse than you actually were, or that you had said online at the time, because you had gone from like a run of very consistent posting your work, your clients, your training, your exercises, all of this sort of stuff. I think that you are a very detachable person. Like, you don't put a lot of stock in the internet, but you had been using the internet to build and grow your business and your clients and your base. Yep. From a personal perspective, was that nearly like pulling a handbrake on everything? Because you were building momentum, you were doing your daily posts, you were trying to do all of this sort of stuff. And then like life just gets in the way and it makes you realize, what's the point?
No, to be honest. So I have a page, coach_Chris_DGR, and I work as a coach, like an exercise coach, as part of David Gray Rehab, who's the guy who rehabbed me first. He's incredibly famous in the sports rehab space and works with a lot of professional athletes. And I work for the team, and I take clients and work them through programs as part of rehabbing different issues. I am just a personal trainer. This is where my qualifications lie, but I have essentially done a 5-6 year internship with David and my colleagues there with the team. And initially I was working kind of separate, like a separate to him, and doing a few bits and pieces for him. But now I get all of my clients, as do the rest of the team, through the pipeline of people contacting David himself. So I was still able to work even though I wasn't posting online. I was keen to grow my page just as a little personal challenge. So I was posting every day and I was sharing different ideas and exercises. but it's quite tedious, like posting every day, even though I got quite good at it. Not in terms of they're good posts, that's not what I mean, but I got good at the workflow of using CapCut and Canva, and it wouldn't actually take me that long to do it. But thinking of something to post every day and setting aside that 30 minutes became pretty tedious. And then life got in the way, and I was just like, oh, this is one less thing to think about. It's one of those things where, as a jiu-jitsu coach, people always talk to me about like apologizing profusely if they haven't been down in the last 1 week or something like that. And I'm like, you look at us, me and you, Andrew, it's our job to teach jiu-jitsu. So you always go to your job. You know, I love jiu-jitsu, but I have to go. And I try to explain to them all the time, look, there's so many things in my life that I just miss one day of, which becomes 5 days, which becomes a month, you know? So honestly, I just got a little bit bored with it. It's a very necessary thing to do nowadays, is to be active on social media. And I was also posting on our gym's Instagram page. So like I would have days previous when I was posting every day that I'd spend 20, 30 minutes editing and putting up and filming a post for my coaching page. Then I would spend 10, 15 minutes putting up a post for the BJJ Bray Instagram page. Then I'd be getting DMs on. It just became, it's fine, and it's my job, and people work much harder than me. That's not me complaining about, oh my gosh, my life is so tough, I have to post on Instagram. But it's like, it's just quite time consuming. And yeah, when all of this started to happen, I was just like, oh, I kind of, I didn't like become depressed. I don't mean to like, especially people who suffer from like real medical diagnosed depression. I do not want to like belittle that, but I was really down. I was kind of like, oh geez, here we go again. And I wouldn't really let that, like, I'm a pretty grumpy person at the best of times in my normal life. But I was like, instead of just, I kind of just went in on myself a little bit, not dramatically. And I was still doing things. I'm still talking to my friends. I'm still being as nice as I can. But basically everything that wasn't necessary, I was kind of like, right, screw this. Like,
you know, two things you said there. A fella apologized to me today for not coming to the 7 a.m. classes during the week. And I said, you've said this to me about 4 times in the last 6 weeks. I was like, I appreciate you feeling the need to apologize, but you absolutely don't need to apologize. The class is going to happen whether you can make it or not. And don't beat yourself over not being able to make it. I was like, you're here today. I was like, you've got your training in today. That's all that really matters. Don't be worrying about that. And then on the other thing, I don't know if I said this on a previous podcast or in a conversation with somebody recently. I've often found it very disingenuous to say you're depressed, because there are people who literally cannot get out of bed and cannot function.
That's what I mean, right?
And I feel like I have a form of, maybe say, like depressive tendencies. I can get down on myself, or like you said, in on yourself a little bit. And then you kind of like, you can give your head a wobble and realize like there is always somebody that has it worse off. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
yes.
You are facing down this, but there's, and I did say, I think I've said this maybe to you before or not, but the day that we found out that my mum was terminal, she told us a story that the nurse that had been helping her and operating, or like with her, missed her previous 2 appointments. And she was like, oh, you're back. Were you on a holiday? Turns out that lady's 13-year-old had tried to commit suicide for a second time. And my mum was like, there are people that have far worse things going on. I mean,
exactly.
Like, we're here now sort of thing. But so posting on Instagram, not the greatest priority in the world for you at the time. But when it came down to like, say, the actual going ahead with it, I know after the fact you were out walking immediately. You had stopped taking painkillers fairly early. Was that like a mental decision for you to like just try and say like, I'm out the other side of this now, I want to try get a big of a head start on my recovery, it's going to get worse, I'm going to be sore before it gets better? Or what was the thought in that?
No, that's just a recommendation. So like, it's, the surgery is like, it's a surgery on your back. Like they cut you open and they essentially drill away your disc, so it's like, you feel pretty shite after it. But I left the hospital that day, the same day, and like I get a lift home. Now you feel terrible, but like I can stand up, you know. So the recommendation is that you try to walk often. What you're not allowed to do for like essentially 6 weeks is bend, twist, or lift anything at all. You just need to be really, really aware of not really moving that spot too much. But then the risk with any injury is you avoid using something because obviously of pain, for example, but then the detraining effect globally on your body of not moving creates potentially other problems as well. And I always try to remind myself that like there's statistics for every surgery. For example, that I gave you, the 7% of people need to have a back surgery again. I have to remind myself that let's say the sample size is 1,000 people. That's not 1,000 36-year-olds who have spent a lifetime in sports. It is people of all ages, shapes, and sizes. They have other health problems or lack of health problems. And even just anecdotally, every time I visited my surgeon in for a consultation or anything like that, the other people waiting there are like my grandparents' age. Do you know? I didn't see anybody that was my age, and I'm looking at them going, oh, thank God. Like, you know, like I'm a little bit ahead of the curve here. And then they're looking at me going, what the fuck is this lad doing in here? Like, you know, how did he hurt his back? You know? Yeah, right, exactly. So no, it just is what it is. And also, same as anything, like you need, what we see online isn't always the real story. Like I'm not putting up videos of me online being like, oh, I'm lying in bed here because I feel shite. And it's funny, I did talk about this on Instagram as well, but it's funny the habits that you create too. So in the lead up to the surgery, I was kind of resigned to, right, nothing is going to help me here except the surgery. And I didn't just instantly give up. I did try, and I applied as many principles as I could that typically would help this problem. Like I work as part of a rehab team, and it's kind of sad and ironic because I have had this story. I get a lot of people reaching out to me who have back pain or sciatica or some kind, and there's no such thing as like a magic touch. So like whenever we meet a client for the first time, we don't make promises, because one of our superpowers and one of the kind of mantras that we work underneath with David and the team is that like we don't know if it's what we're going to apply is going to work. And I always tell new clients, I don't want you to lose confidence in us because I'm telling you I don't know. I want you to actually take confidence from the honesty here, because the big problem in this industry of, even just the industry of training or whatever about rehab, is like all of these feckers that are saying, yeah, I can help you. And that's what I wasted so many months and years on the first time around, is so many people that I saw. I went all around the country. I spent thousands and thousands of euros seeing all sorts of different people. And every single one of them was like, yeah, I can help you. Don't worry about this. Just do this, just do this, just do. And eventually it turned out that none of them could help me. And they tried their best, of course. I'm not saying that they were being disingenuous or anything like that, but the industry and their models didn't want to let me go. Like no one was kind of like, yeah, do you know what? You need to go get a surgery here, until I saw a doctor. I saw just a GP who was like the GP of the Dublin GAA team. And he was recommended to me by an ex-girlfriend of one of my old housemates, who is a doctor herself now as well. And she had done her, I don't know, her placement or something like that with him. And she was like, this guy is kind of old school, but like he's good. And, you know, he has a lot of experience working with sports. And to be honest, at the time, I was just, in order to be polite, I was like, right, I'm going to take her advice here. Because in my mind, you don't go to a GP if you have especially at the time, right? So I had seen all of these people for months and months and months, and they had paid hundreds of euro. They had hours and hours and hours with me, and they all told me, oh, it's not your back, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. I saw this guy, and he goes, bend over. This is within 2 minutes of seeing him. He goes, bend over for me. And I was like, oh, I can't really. It's very sore. And he goes, no, go on, give it a try. And I tried, and he was like, yeah, that's your discs. Your discs are, you've obviously got sciatica here from a bulging disc. Let's get you in for an MRI. And he was right. I had massive, big bulging disc. And it just started the process. But he was the first person to actually tell me what it was, you know.
It's mad that it's nearly went like full circle. Do you know what I mean? To go to the person who, not to say who, a non-sporting athlete would have went to first.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first kind of thing that they would have done.
But it just speaks to the hit rate as well. Like there's these people that couldn't help me. I'm sure they were able to help other people. And I think I glossed over this point, but I get a lot of clients still now who have sciatica, who have back problems, and the principles that I failed to work when I applied them to myself worked with these people. Like I have a massive list of people whose sciatica I was able to help. Not I suppose I coached them through it, but the principles were able to help. And just for whatever reason, they didn't help with me, you know.
Well,
so it is what it is.
I personally teach 3 people who have had some form of back surgery, either the same as yours or have had a fusion recently. And they've all been reassured massively by following you. Mainly just even your demeanor of how you're saying like that this is not a death sentence, this is not a whatever, this is what happened to me, this is how I recovered from it, and will recover from it again in future. Like, I don't even think you realize that whether you're directly working with someone or not, the process of being a person within the jiu-jitsu community and then putting that out there, putting your experience out there, is nearly like a resource then for people to kind of
right. I appreciate that so much, because the first time that this happened to me, I took a lot of stock in like watching people's personal accounts. There's like a Reddit forum. I'm in a Facebook group as well for people who have had this surgery. And there's a Reddit forum for people who have had this surgery as well. And people would share their stories, lots of bad stories, but some good ones as well. And the common thread in the good ones is always an incredible amount of like exercise after it, and like the correct exercise after it as well. Like unless you were in a car crash, I'm sure me and the 3 lads that you train, the 3 people that you train, I'm sure there's like a reason why we had this problem in the first place, unless you were in a car crash. Do you know what I mean? And the reason is most always something is moving too much or something is not moving enough. There's a reason why this part of our back is loading more or moving more than others. And the surgery will clean up the symptoms, but it does not change that movement problem. And that is something that can be trained. So I like completely transformed post-surgery the way that I moved and the way that I trained and the way that I thought about training as well. And I was a bit disappointed that I still ended up needing the surgery again the second time. But I have to make it so clear, I was fully training. Like I was training as hard as I was training when I was in my 20s in the time between, with no considerations of, I'm a guy who used to have a back surgery. So like if I was a postman, not that postmen have easy jobs, but postmen aren't getting suplexed, I don't think, as part of their daily routine. If I was a postman, perhaps I would have got a lot longer out of the first surgery.
Do you think as well, just on that, to touch on that, because I remember you said to me maybe just before the surgery or just after, that maybe you had slacked a little bit on the maintenance the previous year because you were feeling so good training and because you're so happy to be back doing 2-a-days coaching, rolling with your students, rolling in East Coast. Do you think that's if there 100%. Was a thing that you could have done differently, that would have been the thing?
100%. And it's funny because I'll make this promise to myself again. Like, so when I was really working hard rehab, and a good rehab program should begin to just look like a training program in the end. So I was doing this long into feeling pretty good, but it's just tedious. Like doing this, I've been lifting weights in the gym and I've been training since I was 14. And the thrill, the post-surgery thrill of training was really exciting because I was doing something new, and because I was feeling and seeing the benefits. But just the maintenance thing became quite tedious for me. And also I'm working in this field as well. Like I basically do 9 to 5 every day. is dedicated to working for David Gray. And then every evening during the week, I coach jiu-jitsu, and Sundays as well. So Saturday is actually my only day off. And I love what I do. But it's like, come on, I'm on it here. Like I'm just so it's like when I started doing jiu-jitsu first, I was watching so many jiu-jitsu videos, and I was like, it's just so easy to get obsessed with the thing. But then when you just do it every day, it just becomes so normal. And now when I go home, I just watch, I don't know,
Normal
like
TV.
some guy camping in the Swiss mountains, ASMR YouTube video or something. Do you know what I mean? I like to do something that's not the thing that you do all the time. So yeah, basically I slacked a little bit because I felt so good. And such a good analogy for this. People always use this for different professions, but often best mechanic in the town has the shittest car because he hasn't got time, or like he finishes working on cars all day. He's like, oh geez, I'm not going to go fix my car now when I get off work.
He's
Or
dirty.
painter and
He's getting into a shit car. He doesn't want to ruin a new car.
exactly, right. Or painter and decorator often has a house that the kitchen still hasn't been wallpapered because that's what you're doing all day. You get home and you're just like, I don't want to even think about that anymore. Do you know? So yeah, for sure. I think 50-50 split. No. 40%. I've had this surgery before. That's why I had to have it again. 40%. I probably did put way too many eggs in just training jiu-jitsu again basket. And jiu-jitsu is not bad for you, but anything that you do every day changes your body. And our bodies are not for jiu-jitsu. Our bodies are for standing and walking and running and all of these things. So I just basically kind of moved away from that more feeling good body back into a jiu-jitsu body. And then 20%, I'm just unlucky. 20% is just like, the game is the game. Like, who knows? But yeah, for sure, it's definitely a factor. I slacked a little bit.
Last thing on the body side of things, right? I know from a couple of years ago that I have a degenerative disc in my neck. That's never gonna heal or repair and stuff like that. But it did probably make me a little bit more conscious of the style or type of jiu-jitsu that I was doing, especially in training. So it's like, am I going to invert and try be upside down against people 20 kilos heavier than me?
Yeah.
Like, I've absolutely nothing to gain from doing that anymore. And you don't recover as quickly as when you were younger, and you can't do the 4 or 5 hours a day and then hop up out of bed. Like, I had a private this morning and then taught the competition class, but didn't train at it because yesterday I had about 3 to 4 hours of training. I was like, for me to do that today would then be completely stupid because the next day is just going to be even worse. Whereas tomorrow now I will be able to train. So for younger people who are having wars in the gym that are berimbolo inverting enthusiasts, what could they be doing to protect themselves, or should they be forgetting that game entirely, or like is this
not at all? Not at all, dude.
Not that you should forget the game entirely. I don't mean that at all, but like, what's the tell them to rest more and eat vegetables or something alongside their inverting.
Andrew, a ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what a ship is for, my friend. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
We want to ship the capsize to go upside down.
No, but man, it's like you could just get hit by a bus. Do you know what I mean? You could fucking roll out of bed and snap your neck. Do you know? Like,
who did get hit by a bus? Someone famous. The drummer from Glass Animals got hit by a bus in Dublin.
Is that famous? I don't know who the Glass Animals are.
You would know them. Heat Waves.
I'm too young. I'm too young. No, man. Like, sports are fun. Do your thing. Do you know? Do your thing. I would not change anything about what I did in the past. I created a lot of. Here's one for you, right? So there's this big debate, maybe just in the circles that I'm in, about like strength and conditioning for jiu-jitsu athletes. And people will say, oh, you've got to be doing strength and conditioning or else you're going to get injured or something like that. First of all, that's really disingenuous because being there basically is no predictor of an injury, especially an injury that you will pick up in sport. And if you look even at this small sample size of people in your gym, there is no common thread of this person hurt their knee. Well, to be fair, typically people who hurt their knees in jiu-jitsu are people who are playing a lot of lasso or something, for example, and they're putting like some different forces on their knees. But like common thread, I mean, it's not like older guys, younger guys. It's not like heavier, shorter. Even I've seen so many like fit, strong gym heads hurt themselves more than just young lads who never did anything except for jiu-jitsu. So I think it's really disingenuous to say that, oh, you have to do strength and conditioning or else you'll get injured. Okay. I also think it's really disingenuous to say that doing strength and conditioning will make your jiu-jitsu better. It may make you a better fighter because you are stronger, but that's jiu-jitsu hopefully is all about technique. And isn't that the whole sales pitch of jiu-jitsu, that you don't need to be strong, and if your technique is good, sure, look at yourself, Andrew. Do you know what I mean? You're great at jiu-jitsu. No, I'm joking. But you're the poster boy of that, right? No, but isn't that the whole thing, right? That you don't need to be strong and da. So just because it can make you fight better because now you're stronger, you could argue that that's actually making you worse at jiu-jitsu. Now, that's just me doing devil's advocate. I am someone who has lifted weights and trained my whole life, especially when I started my jiu-jitsu journey. I actually got into jiu-jitsu because I met Darragh, my coach, in the gym. Like, we were just lifting weights and we got talking and yada, yada, yada. Also, every person that tells you that you have to do strength and conditioning for jiu-jitsu is a strength and conditioning coach who's trying to sell jiu-jitsu strength and conditioning programs. Of course, they're going to say that. And that's not I don't mean that they shouldn't say that, but of course they're going to say that. It's like the people telling you that you have to have a home security system in your house. Guess what their job is? Selling home security systems. Do you know what I mean? And here's the kicker on this, right? There's good strength and conditioning and bad strength and conditioning. And there's good ways to do movements and arguably not so good ways to do movements. So you can hurt yourself just as easily in the gym as you can hurt yourself. And I did hurt myself many times in the gym. Like I do believe that a lot of my back problems were created when I was in my late teens and early 20s by squatting heavy and deadlifting heavy. And that does not mean squatting and deadlifting is bad. It means nothing is safe. If you want to be safe, you got to just sit at home playing Xbox. And even that's going to create, do you know what I mean? It's like, I just hate this whole debate now of you got to do this or else you're going to be injured. It's like a super sneaky snake oil thing. And my whole job outside of jiu-jitsu is the world of training and exercising and helping people work through injuries and beyond injuries. And I don't talk about that at all in my jiu-jitsu club. I do not talk about that at all. And if strength and conditioning was important for jiu-jitsu, every gym would have a strength and conditioning class. Do you know? And the gyms that do have, the jiu-jitsu gyms that do have weights in them, that's because we can pay 9% VAT instead of 23. Simple. It's not because it's part of the training, do you know? And
what's
then there's this.
You're telling gym owners now that they should do? What do you mean? You'll get a discount on your VAT if you have a weight room.
VAT is 20. Now, I got a lot of help with this as well, right? But basically VAT, and this is not a scam, by the way. This is not like everything is. This is just the way that
creative accounting.
It's not even creative. It just is what it is. So there's a martial arts classes. If you look at the revenue information, it actually lists karate and judo, I think, are the martial arts references there. And we pay the blanket 23% rate. And this is crippling for a small business like ours, given that a gym next door to us doing CrossFit or doing something else is paying either 9 or 13%, depending on their the makeup or of their business, right? And I had been blindly paying 23% for years because that was advice that I was given by my accountant. And I'm not a businessman. I've grown and learned about things over the years. And then after talking to so many different people, I was like, Jesus, that 23% is fucking shite, isn't it? And they were like, you're paying 23%? No. Because there's a EU, basically Ireland, a long time ago. Anyone that actually knows about this will think that I'm butchering this, which I probably am. But uh, each EU member state has like a list of essentially tokens that they can apply to different things to get a reduced VAT rate. And there's a limited number of things that you can apply it to. So it's not the case of just saying, oh, let's also give it to jiu-jitsu. If they gave it to jiu-jitsu, they'd have to take it away from something else. But because exercise and fitness and stuff is like a progressive thing, and it's a way of the Irish tax system encouraging health and well-being, and encouraging businesses like that to set up, there is a reduced VAT rate applied to those things. So if you can just structure your gym as such, which is what many gyms do now, and you offer different types of classes, and you have the lower VAT rate available to you. So I'm sure everyone that owns a gym is probably like, yeah, I know. Whereas I was the last person to find out about that. So it probably held us back for many years.
Jiu-jitsu advice, bodily coaching advice, and now accounting and finance advice.
Tax avoidance.
From Chris Leddy on this episode.
Exactly.
I suppose you did mention that you met Darragh in a gym, and that's how you ended up getting into jiu-jitsu. I remember mad things about people very specifically. On the episode with Darragh, I asked him about him trying to eat 100 chicken nuggets in one day.
I was there. I witnessed it.
For you,
what
I'm going to say, I can remember a Facebook status where you had quit your job. You were selling insurance at the time, but I think it was something along the lines of, I just worked out on an Excel sheet that if I quit my job, on some sort of a sheet, if I quit my job, I could train X amount of hours a day, and that would be X amount over this amount of weeks and months and years, and that I'm going to basically quit everything and train full time. Yeah. There was definitely some sort of tracking about it, and the thing that I want to kind of ask you to compare that to now is that was when we were all hoodwinked into the system of Lloyd Irvin telling everyone that you need to do a drill 10,000 hours, 10,000 times, and that the metal basers are training harder than you, and that it's the hours that you need to be doing, and blah, 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 blah. Do you think you were right back then?
Of course, it's definitely good to, I don't agree with that like 10,000 hours thing. Obviously, that's so subjective. But of course, if you want to get good at a skill, you should try to do it more. Of course. Definitely.
So do you remember when you quit with the intention of just wanting to train full time?
Well, what actually happened there was I dropped out of college very, very quickly because I'm not a good student for that. I'm a good student if I'm interested in the thing. And school didn't really suit me. Like I never do homework. I don't have a long attention span. So I didn't do very well in my leaving cert. And then as a result, I didn't get a college course that I was interested in. And I went to college in the city centre in Dublin. And this is just to paint a picture of the type of college student that I was. One of my lectures was like a daily accounting lecture, right? But the building that it was in, this was like a campus spread out over a few buildings in Dublin.
What name the college?
It was Daddy's Business School, Dublin Business School,
DBS.
DBS, yeah. Daddy's Business School, or didn't bother studying. So I went to a non-fee paying secondary school my whole life, and I am not from a rich family, but I was lucky that like my dad had a good job. He worked in, he didn't go to college either, but he worked in Irish Life, which is the company that I ended up working for, and worked there for so long and progressed through the ranks and had a stable and a good job. So he was able to take this kind of bet on me to go, right, let's get you to college, and we ended up going here. I did a marketing course, but this accounting lecture that I was scheduled to do every single day was in a building that I didn't recognize the code of on my timetable. So I just never went, and I never asked anybody where it was. And weeks later of this, I kind of got caught, and they were like, why are you not going to this lecture? And I was like, oh, I didn't know where it was. And they were like, what are you like, they actually talked to me and my dad at the time, and they gave us the money back. They gave us a refund, a full refund, and they were like, "Just get out of here, mate." Like,
In a year.
yeah. So then I got a job. I went through the interview process and got a job, like low level data entry, like administration type stuff in Irish Life. And that was just before the recession. So this was in, like, I guess 2007 or something like that. I was in the last batch of people to get hired in this rather big company before the employment freeze of the recession started. So I worked, the intention was to go there for a year and then next September reapply for a course that was more interesting, or potentially even resit my leaving cert or something like that. But that was pipe dream, to be honest. Worked there, hated it, but every month I kept spending my wage, so I had to work another month and another month and another month. Started training jiu-jitsu. I had already been training jiu-jitsu actually, but started to really enjoy it. I started training jiu-jitsu when I was in, I think, like 5th year in school. But started to really enjoy it. And opportunity came up in 2011 to go to America with Darragh for 3 months, the best part of 3 months. Plan was go to San Diego, train in University of Jiu-Jitsu with Saulo and Shanji Hibero, and do the world championships. I didn't even know what world, obviously it's implied in the name, but like I had no, I didn't carry any weight to me. I had never watched it. I didn't have Budo videos or whatever it was showing on at that time. So I was just like, oh yeah, there's another jiu-jitsu competition. And I asked for unpaid leave. And they were like, no, we're not giving you unpaid leave. And I was like, right, well, fuck it, I'm quitting. And everybody thought I was insane because of the employment freeze and because I had essentially, like, unless I basically got cancelled somehow and did something wildly inappropriate, I basically had a job for life, especially considering that my dad works there as well. And it's a company that looks after, there's so many relatives in that company.
Nepotism, Chris. That's what it's called.
Yeah, right. But it's hey, it's fucking, it's good. It's shit if you are the person that can't get in, but it's a super cool thing to do. It's a really, really nice thing to do for the people that are working there.
Oh,
do you know? It's like
100%. Yeah.
I don't even know what nepotism means, but it sounds bad, right? But anyway,
it's a meme reference. People are using it a lot at the minute. Just very quickly, for those who also don't know, nepotism is a noun. The practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates, especially by giving them jobs.
There you go. Well then, so that's what a nepo baby is.
That's what a nepo baby is, yeah.
The more you know. So I'm a nepo baby.
Well, but you left anyway, and you.
Yeah,
I love the story of the whole, like, just the tunnel visionness of being like, and your mom and dad at the time were probably like, Chris, do you not realize what you're doing here? And you were probably in a struggle being like, do you not realize how cool jiu-jitsu is? How much I like doing this? How, like, I have no problem getting up in the morning, out in the evening, going and doing this. And they think it's karate.
So I have kind of a unique story here, I think, in that regard, where like, so my mom's brother, my uncle, is in the circle of Kenpo karate, is like a pretty renowned Kenpo and Kenpo karate instructor, and is like travels the world doing Kenpo karate seminars and things like this. Now he also, especially karate and the landscape of like more traditional martial arts in Ireland now, he never went and took the leap to making that his full-time career, right? But doing martial arts to some degree to that side of my family was kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of the same as what his name's Ken, right? Karate Ken. And when I was younger, I always thought it was called Kenpo Karate because his name was Ken. So yeah, right.
Being the
yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing. It's too much of a coincidence for that not to be the case. So anyway, I actually can't remember really what my mom would have thought about it at that time, but that's just me looking back now. But I always remember that my dad would compliment me on the drive that I had to do those things. And when I was even much younger than that, I used to really like skateboarding and football as well. Like I was obsessed with football and playing football for a team, and I was obsessed with skateboarding. And my dad would always compliment me on Geez, fair play to you that you're just out there practicing that trick for like 30 minutes again and again and again, and it doesn't work, and you do it again and again and again. And I always remember him saying that was so amazing that I had that drive, you know? So he was definitely pretty encouraging of me. And I remember we had the safety net of, sure, fuck it. You've got 3 years of a CV now here. Go and do this. And if it doesn't work out, just apply for another job. Do you know what I mean? You'll figure it out. I was young. How old was I in 2011? 21 or 22. And obviously you're an adult, but like you're
You're not.
young.
Yeah.
No, you're not really. You're not really. So anyway, took the unpaid leave, went to America, was like, wow, this is incredible. Obviously got to spend so much more time with Darragh and around a really, really professional jiu-jitsu environment. And Darragh had in the recent years taken over the running of the club because our previous coach had to move away from it through a back injury, which is pretty full circle. And Darragh was talking about, look, it'd be so cool if essentially we could just do this together, you know? Now, not from a shared business perspective, but like almost like an internship thing, do you know? Like that in very informal. Neither of us were making very much money, me much less than him, but he knew a lot more about jiu-jitsu than I did. So I was just kind of happy to go that route. And as well, it was infinitely better than getting a real job. So I just chased it, you know. But that was
I can remember not this was a couple of years later after that, but I had 1 year left before getting a degree in Ballyfermot, and the last year, Ballier, the last year was going to be very hands-on or heavy. So it'd be like the degree would have been awarded by DCU. You would have gone in on a Monday, been given an assignment that would have been due in on Thursday. You'd be given another assignment that would be due in on Thursday. And it was essentially cramming 2 years worth of college into one, and then you get a degree at the end of it. That was in the summer of 2014. I had already paid for a trip to go to Brazil with Seb in October and for 3 weeks to train. And Conor McGregor was fighting Dustin Poirier in Las Vegas, and I had the flights booked for that as well. So I would have had to miss both of those two trips, and I just deferred it. And then go from summer 2014 to summer 2015, severe MMA, doing a lot better. We were going to all these events. I was able to train twice a day. I was really enjoying jiu-jitsu. I was a blue belt and was like, there's no point in going back here. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in going back and having to take the year. And in my head, I was always like, the experience that I have will be worth more than the degree that I was going to get, because if I was going to do radio and broadcasting and stuff like that, then they're going to care about what I've done, what you actually sound like, rather than what your thing is. But I'm glad that you brought it up, because on a world exclusive on Consistently Above Average.
Nice. Did you like the segue? Did you?
Very good.
Very professional.
No, so we you talked about California. I also had to Google another name here. I have other tabs open that I'm going to show you after, but you went to California. You trained like a professional. You competed in the World Championships, and you won a bronze medal.
Yes.
However,
bronze medal, mate.
Right up there alongside some of the most egregious crimes in Irish history, which would have been fresh in people's minds with the financial crisis and all the banks and the bribes and fucking everything that had just happened. Well, Chris Leddy entered into the world as a white belt despite being promoted to blue belt.
Yeah.
For the first time in history, Chris.
Or did I?
Your side of the story. What happened? What happened? Before we get the thread up, I want to just like cool. I am judging you, but I'm not going to judge
away.
You.
Judge away.
Tell us.
So basically, I had been training in a gym called Next Generation Jiu-Jitsu, which was one of the like essentially founding clubs in it. The Everton branched from John Kavanagh, as far as I understand. But my coach at the time, David Jones, who had fought MMA professionally many times and was the PE teacher in my coach now Darragh's school, had a club quite local to us that was at the time like a part-time thing in a local community center hall 2 or 3 times a week. It was no-gi. It was an MMA school, right? That's what it was called. But it was, to be honest, quite a lot of no-gi, jiu-jitsu, and like fitness style classes. And I did it and I loved it because I had always loved sports and I had always loved physical, like pushing yourself in that regard. And I loved the task of trying to get better at something. And growing up, a lot of my friends or people that I knew went on to play like rugby, for example. And I was kind of envious of the culture that they had of you get to train physically in the gym, for example. I loved the gym back then, but then you actually have something that you can use that strength and fitness for. Rugby for them. I had kind of fallen out of playing football. I wasn't an amazing footballer. I was dedicated to training and stuff like that, but I wasn't amazing. I got my game every week and I'd score the odd goal, but there was always players that were much better than me. I kind of fell out of love with it and at the same time found jiu-jitsu and really, really, really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I had a knack for it or anything like that, but I was young, I was strong, I was fit, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I got really, really into it. My coach at the time, David Jones, was like probably the first coach that ever made me feel like valued as a young athlete or whatever you want to call it. Athlete is probably the wrong word. Student. Would give me a lot of time. Say again.
Attendee,
yeah, attendee, exactly. Would give me a lot of time. Would give me a lot of his energy. And as a coach now, I see that in my young students who are there every day and are there early every day and are never missing rounds. I was that guy when I was younger. So I understand now he didn't give me this extra time because I was special. He gave me this extra time because I was deserving of it because of the effort that I was putting in. So nothing but good things to say about him. And he was a student, a brown belt under Chris Brennan, who is the head of Next Generation. And Chris Brennan is like old school MMA legend from America. Chris Brennan came to do a seminar in our gym, and I was awarded a blue t-shirt, right? Which is, I think, purposefully ambiguous. Okay. I was not given a blue belt. I was given a blue t-shirt. We did never trained in the gi. I understood that, of course. I'm not being that naive, but I understood that as that's my blue belt. Of course I did. And I was shite, right? But so was everyone back then. And that's not a neg on anyone in Ireland. The level of jiu-jitsu in Ireland was, of course, worse than it is now. Of course, worse than it is now. So a blue belt back then absolutely is not a blue belt now. But that's another kettle of fish. I was given this blue t-shirt. Then I started to like really, really get into jiu-jitsu. I was visiting SBG because they had gi classes. And I remember asking John Kavanagh, and John Kavanagh obviously didn't care. He was like, who's this young lad? Like, I've a full business to run here. I was like, John, I've never trained in the gi before. I think it's kind of disrespectful for me to wear a blue belt to your classes, considering that your white belts are able to kick my ass. What should I do? And he was like, mate, do whatever you want. I don't care. Do you know, like it's not that deep. So I actually went with no belt because I didn't even have a blue belt, right? And then my big mistake was that I competed in, I think it was called the Dublin Open, and I borrowed my brother's Taekwondo blue belt, and I borrowed a gi from Darragh, and I won a match and I lost the match.
Taekwondo blue belt.
Yeah, Adam Leddy, Taekwondo legend, mate.
He was in the Taekwondo.
Yeah, the Leddy family, incredibly strong martial arts dynasty, Andrew. Incredibly strong.
Yeah, it's
when he was a kid. When he was a kid, like he didn't do it when he was into his adult years.
So I have a surprise for the people who are watching here.
Fuck.
I'm gonna share the screen.
Is this the match?
It is, yeah.
See for yourselves. Ask yourselves.
Has popped up. Okay.
Not yet. Here it is. I found this the other day.
You did. Right? You sent it to me. You sent it to me.
So semi-final. This is my first match. I don't know who this other young man was.
Yeah. Can I just say, For those watching, this is the consistently above average YouTube channel. I do not use that. I don't know why there's rugby suggestions here on the
Trump's
side.
Epstein cover. You've already half watched that video, mate. The red bar halfway up it.
Right. If I full screen it, is this full screen for you now?
It is indeed.
Okay.
Let's do a
so
play. Take off the volume there now.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Let's do a play by play.
Yeah, you tell me when you want me to stop it, right?
Oh, to be honest, I didn't even really watch it with the
By
other
the way,
day when I found this.
We watched about the first minute of it in the gym. It's Kieran McElveny, I believe, that you're competing against.
Ah, okay.
I think, but I'm not sure.
And he gets smoked. You get smoked, McElveny. No. Look at the stance, first of all. Oh, Leddy. Look at that. For the listeners, picture perfect double leg here. Look
you
at
need
the
to
stance.
get on YouTube.
Look at the stance, Andrew. Whoa. Blammo, right? Basically nearly get swept straight away. Look at the crowd as well. On their feet, Andrew.
Probably about 5 people watching this match. A guy passive aggressively with his arms folded watching here.
Yeah. That's probably one of the commenters on. Oh, look at the knee on belly. You didn't think Coach Chris had a knee on belly on him back in?
Look at that. Very tactical. Look at the ref. Where's the points, ref?
Do I look at him? Oh, great knowledge of the sport.
For the points.
Look at the underhook. Step around armbar. Oh, sloppy. Nice awareness by McElveny there. Who's that in the corner for McElveny on the chair?
Over here.
To the east of your screen. Yeah, do you recognize that man?
My screen. I just assume that it's Kieran McElveny. I think
he has a Gracie Baha gi on this guy.
Yeah, well, Chris. Oh, look.
There's the bridge and roll. There's the Darragh Bridge, mate.
That's the Shaolin sweep.
Nah, rewind that. Tell me that was a Shaolin sweep. I just absolutely horsed him over.
Yeah.
There's no. Look at this. That's just horsed him over. This is the caliber. This is what I mean, right? This was me doing jiu-jitsu. I was up for a scrap. I was reasonably strong, and I was young. There's if you can watch this video.
Darragh O'Conaill to the east as well.
Yeah, just to the east of the screen there. But like nothing happens in this match, right? So this is to look ahead. No. This whatever about the standard. This is the famous Chris Leddy competed at blue belt match, right? This is so to skip ahead in our other story that we were saying. Basically, I had been awarded this blue t-shirt. I started to train in the gi. It was like super ambiguous at the time as well. And don't forget, I know I was in my early 20s, but that is so young. And the amount of media that was Boards.ie, which we will talk about now shortly, was the hub of this is where people talk about jiu-jitsu. Like there was I didn't know that I was doing something bad by doing white belt. And I didn't know, oh, you've done this competition at blue belt. Oh, well, to be honest, I'm sure, of course, I'm probably thinking back. Maybe I did think like, oh shit, now that I'm training in white belt, is that I don't know. Like it was so long ago in jiu-jitsu and I was so young, right? But basically, it wasn't even my decision to go back and do white belt. Darragh and Saulo Ribeiro, his coach, talked about it when I went to America, and they were like, yeah, this guy's a white belt. Like, you know, he's never trained in the gi before. Even the training that I did over there, like there was a white belt mat, Andrew. Like, so I wasn't even allowed to train with the higher belts. So there was basically only one other good white belt there. And he was a guy that did the same division and same competition as me. And he was a wrestler. And I say good white belt. He was a good wrestler, American guy. Me and him just basically beat the shit out of each other every day. And that was my training camp for the Worlds that I eventually did. I did the Worlds. Every match, absolute battle, right? Absolute battle. Like, this is not a guy that had been awarded a blue belt and just went in and styled on everyone. I'm pretty sure that I even wrote this in the Worlds thread on Boards, because I forget pretty much now how all of these matches went. But I'm pretty sure I had some stat that I was literally losing every match and then either submitted the person in the end or did a big stupid move, big bridge or something like that to score some points or something like that. I did not go in there and finesse everyone. The only thing I did was be a little bit naive to I would be nervous now to do the worlds. Now, this was not even the worlds. For white belts, it's called an international novice. But I didn't understand that at the time. I thought I was doing the worlds, right? I wasn't nervous. I was just like, fuck, I do jiu-jitsu all the time. Surely I'm supposed to do all right here. Do you know what I mean? And I broke a lad's arm at the Worlds as well, right? Had him in an arm. The only time I've ever broke somebody's arm. Had a guy in an arm bar who he broke his previous fight's guy's arm. Okay.
Armor can catch you fast.
Yeah, right. Had him in an arm bar. He wasn't tapping. And I'm thinking, and I'm losing on points as well, by the way, right? So I'm thinking, fuck, I'm after coming the whole way over here to America. I'm after paying hundreds of euro for a flight, hundreds of euro for some apartment. This is before Airbnb. Like, I'm living in an apartment in America. I'm not going to just lose because this lad doesn't want to tap. So I didn't do a big I just kept pulling. And I felt, I suppose when you break someone with an arm bar, it's mostly like their tendons and stuff that rip. And I remember I felt like bum, 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 up his arm. And then he screamed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, mate. Like, you know, and then I went into the semi-final and I got the shit kicked out of me. And the guy that won my division was I think he went on to like fight in the UFC. He was a white belt. The rules have since changed in IBJJF that if you've fought professional MMA or you're a D1 wrestler.
I believe. I've seen this a few times because Ireland BJJ copies the IBJJF and they have it saying like if you have any, and I would really like clarity on if you have any experience in amateur MMA, you must compete at blue belt. And it's like, I've seen the standard of amateur MMA in the country. Imagine a fella who has 0-4 as amateur MMA, lost every match by submission, trains in a striking gym, and then wants to get good at jiu-jitsu and train in the gi. And you're telling him now you have to compete as a blue belt.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think, to be honest, if you're tough enough to do an MMA fight, amateur MMA nowadays is a lot different to what it used to be back then.
Yeah.
If you're tough enough to do an MMA fight, your white belt is too easy for you. It should be. I think it should be. Do you know? White belt competition should be just about like gaining experience and stuff, which is what I was doing back then as well. But as the young white belt who was doing it, I didn't think about it like that. But as a coach now, I think I'm putting people in for their first competition. They're shitting themselves. And then they have to fight a guy who, regardless of his record, has been locked in a cage with somebody and punching the head off each other. So I'm not sure what I think about that. But anyway,
so you get bronze.
Get bronze. This is before iPhones, by the way, right? This is me and Darragh had our shitty Dell laptops over there, Nokia phone, no access to the internet. There was Facebook, but like there was no WhatsApp, no Instagram, anything like this. We get back to the hotel room off the Greyhound bus, but to the apartment, wherever the hell we were staying. And there's this thread. I see Chris Leddy has won a bronze medal at the Worlds. And I'm like, oh, fuck, on Boards. They're talking about me on Boards. And then it goes like, the comments progress to, wait a minute, was that at white belt? Wait a minute.
You want us to bring it up?
Bring it up, Andrew. Bring it up. Now,
let me just get on to the producer here. Go on.
Yeah. As you're bringing it up, right? This is the only, because this was, I suppose, the main reason that we were going to chat on the podcast today, right? I hope that even if people disagree with the decision nowadays, I hope that people don't hold 15 years ago version of me to the standard or the person that I am trying to be today. And in a similar fashion, I do not hold anyone to the comments that they made back then. So I think this is just funny. I think it's funny to go back and look at these. Exactly. And people are entitled to their opinions back then. I was, as all young people are, opinionated, mouthy, right? But like, I don't care what people said about me back then. And I hope that people don't care what I said about them back then either as a result of this. I was super pissed off because it wasn't my decision to do white belt. I was told to do white belt. And then I worked super hard sucked it up, quit my job, went and did this competition, broke my bollocks in the competition to get through to the next match. I had like 7 matches or something that day. I can't remember. It was a lot of matches. Fucking pulled bronze medal out of my ass. Was the second, I know it's not the world's, but after Quiva McGill, I was the only other person to win a medal at that stage in the pyramid. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And I went back to
the first to win it at the pyramid, because when Kifa did it, the world was still in Brazil.
There you go. What a stat, mate.
What
a stat. So there you go, right? This was cool. I thought there wasn't many other Irish people there, if any, apart from me and Darragh. I did not see it as like, I think I might mention in this thread somewhere, I'm representing Ireland. But what I mean is, I'm going out there as an Irish person across the world, just doing what I'm told, just fucking doing what I'm told, break my back to win this fucking medal. And then I come back online and 30% of the people are saying, well done. And 70% of people are like, you're essentially a scumbag cheater. Do you know? And
who were you to question Saulo Ribeiro?
Man, do you know what I mean? But not even that. Who am I to question it full stop? Who am I to question anyone at that stage? I don't have the experience in jiu-jitsu. I don't have the maturity as an adult to consider all of these things that the people sitting at home typing would have had the time and space to think about and bounce all these opinions off each other. I just went and did a competition, and I did not know that I was going to create or cause these problems. Do you know? This wouldn't happen nowadays because the standard is different nowadays. And it wouldn't happen nowadays because gyms don't have a fella from America that needs to come over nowadays to give you your belt. This is a relic of its time in Irish jiu-jitsu, where you are getting your belt off a guy that you never met and has never trained with you and has never seen you train. Do you know?
There's one funny thing about this that I want to put into context before we start going through the thread. We are speaking, look, I can change, look, touch of a button, change this, touch of a button, change this, touch of a button, change this, touch of a button.
Future. Whatever, whoa, right? I like that one.
We're in the future. We're in the future here, right? We're both chatting away here. Microphones, good equipment rigged up, you know, both seemingly drinking a lemon flavored dilute of some sort.
I'm on the Creo, mate. I'm on the creatine. Yeah, mate.
So what I'm trying to say is the fact that these messages were not sat typed by somebody on an iPhone. It was somebody at the home computer, at the desktop, fucking dial-up internet. Listen, no one is allowed to make a phone call for the next half an hour in this house because I need to compose a response to Chris Leddy on board.
Exactly.
So, just seeing Chris Leddy got a bronze at the world's white belt adult. Great stuff. Well done.
Andy Ryan. Legend. Still gives me a punch in the stomach every time I see him. And I respect him for that.
Okay. Banned account, Barry Oglesby. Brilliant achievement.
Yeah, I saw that banned. Barry, what did you do?
Brilliant achievement from one of the internet's least likable posters. Congratulations, Chris.
Tongue in cheek there from Barry.
Cowserp. This has to be a mistake because he got his blue belt off Chris Brennan in 2009 from the website, which is not here. I think I should buy BJJ.ie. There
you go. Live, get on it quick before you release this podcast, mate.
Yeah, I actually will. I actually think I will buy that website. BJJ.ie, beltless. PS, Andy's black belt needs updating on the forum too. BJJ fighter, Carl Redmond. He placed in last year's Irish Open at blue belt. That'd be a great achievement to come third at blue. The blue belt divisions are really tough.
Right. Let's pause. That is purposefully scabby. He's pretending. Again, let's imagine that this is not, I'm not talking about Carl Redmond. I remember Carl Redmond. I trained with and competed against Carl Redmond. Lovely bloke, right? Let's not hold.
New York.
Amazing. Let's just remove. These are names on the internet, right? And this is something that happened 15 years ago. I can see now reading that comment. He's like, oh, well done. Blue belt division is super tough. Well done. He has read that I have done white belt and he is doing a sneak diss, as the rappers would call it, and saying, "Oh, you've got it done. Blue belt is super tough." He knows what he's saying there, right? But anyway, play on, because it gets spicy in here. It gets spicy.
I do know most of them. Okay, name the next
Tom
few.
King,
Joey Choke.
Enjoy choke. I know them all, mate.
Yeah,
Andrew.
Go on.
Joey Breslin, Dabrez. My
all.
Boards.ie account is from 2006, mate.
Yeah.
I was Boards.ie super poster.
Well done, Chris. Truly amazing achievement. Wipeout Worlds is basically any ungraded jiu-jitsu players and can often be as hard as blue belt, i.e. state wrestlers and MMA fighters. Pretty sure Ibero Jiu-Jitsu policy is that a no-gi blue belt is not accepted in their system, and you generally start back at white, or white with a few stripes. This is repeated by most large BJJ teams, by the way. By that way, BTW.
Yeah, sign of the time.
Standards
this is so old that BTW hadn't even been invented yet.
By that way. The standards are ridiculously high over at the university, especially considering if you compete at Worlds in the gi with little to no gi experience, you probably won't get through the first round. Hopefully he'll be promoted in the gi by South over the coming days. Best of luck to Darragh today competing at purple. At BJJ Fighter, pretty sure there was only 2 guys in that division and Chris got triangled pretty quickly. : capital P, which is to mimic this look.
Yeah. Also sign of the time. Pre actual emojis.
Yeah.
Lean Beechner. Let's look ahead here really quickly, right? So here's I think is an important piece on this. Especially at the time, there was a lot of turmoil in the Irish jiu-jitsu community. This would have been not so long after certain gyms broke off away from each other due to personal situations and disagreements and stuff like that. It is essentially in this thread, people agreeing and disagreeing with each other 20% about this topic and 80% because they like or don't like the person that they're exactly. So Joey Breslin and I don't know where he got that information from. They're saying, "Oh, I think a lot of other gyms would hold this standard as well." He's just defending his mate, and that doesn't mean make him more right or more wrong. But I wasn't even mates with him at that time, and I had met him a couple of times, but he was just a young lad who was going, "Fucking hell, this is a bit harsh of the lads here." And by the way, if you think it gets smelly, it gets smelly in this thread.
It does. Liam Beechner, huge achievement. Team Rhino. I checked, it was white belt. I don't know the guy, but if Chris Brennan awarded him a blue belt, that's disrespectful to change. Maybe his coaches made the call. Anyway, well done. Very to the point. Andy Ryan is the exact same as he was in 2011 as he is in
Andy Ryan is the voice of reason in this thread. He is not wrong to say, and by the way, let me talk about this, right? The only thing that I am sorry about in this whole situation is
absolutely fucking nothing.
No, is that it ultimately kind of soured my relationship with David Jones, who was that coach who looked after me so well, and I was young and I had a new coach in Darragh, and you have to put your allegiance somewhere. And here's the ironic thing, right? That they're saying that it's disrespectful to my previous coach, who I'd only met once and handed me a blue t-shirt. It's disrespectful to him. But if you're supposed to respect your coach so much, why should I not be taking the advice of the coach that I currently have, train with every day, and have traveled to America to train with, legend of jiu-jitsu? I was just doing what I was told. Do you know what I mean? And I think that the biggest mistake in all of this, and I've spoken about this many times over the years, but not in recent years. I've just completely forgot about this until I saw on Reddit somewhere that Boards.ie is being taken down. They can't keep the lights on. And I was like, fuck, I should go in and have a look at this BJJ Worlds thread again. I have no regrets. I stand by the decision that we made. I think the mistake here was essentially, and I suppose it was more appropriate at the time, but the mistake was an early grade to a blue t-shirt of a young, impressionable guy who went on to really like jiu-jitsu. This is the same blue t-shirt awarded to me by a network of coaches that essentially called the gi shit. Like they're basically like, the gi is shit. And they would have used more derogatory terms than shit, which also would have been relics of the time as well. But like the problem here is that I was awarded a blue t-shirt. The problem here is not, or is less, that I then decided to go and wear a white belt and essentially start from scratch again. Also, a big thing that progresses in the thread is people saying that my decision to do that points the finger at the standard of Irish jiu-jitsu not being as high as the rest of the world. And are you joking me? Of
we can play the
course
clip
it
again.
wasn't.
We can play the match again.
Yeah, it's not the standard of the rest of the world now, 15 years later, when jiu-jitsu, it is. And if you think it is, you have not competed or trained outside of Ireland, and you don't have flow grappling. You know, there is obviously very high level people in Ireland, more so nowadays. Thinking of young Carmody, for example, who is the standard at his weight and belt. That is the standard in the world. That did not exist back then. That simply did not exist back then. So no. People are butthurt back here because I'm basically saying, hang on a minute, lads, I went to America and we're kind of all shit. And they're like, no, we're not shit. We're so good. Everyone was shit back then, including me, including my coach. Shit relative to what the standard is now. And yeah, it just is what it is. It's the same with any sport. It's the same with mobile phones. Mobile phones were shit back then. They're better now. That's not me slagging people who worked in the mobile phone business in 2011. That's just saying that is the natural progression of anything in the world. Do you know?
Dude, what do you mean little or no gi experience? He placed third in the Irish Open last year in the blue belt division and in his gi. Do you mean the standard is lower here and we have to degrade ourselves while we are abroad? I'm purple belt in the gi, but does that make me a white belt or novice in no gi? 4 question marks. Good luck, Darragh. Hope you kill him, bro.
That guy was my biggest hater in the thread.
He was BJJ Rev SS.
Yes,
he's there. Legendary user.
SD timeout. Who's this?
Who's that guy?
Oh, where's my camera gone?
Oh,
can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to my camera. Read on. I'll see if I can fix this.
There should be a button somewhere that allows you to
read on. Read on.
You can still see the thread though, can't you?
I can see everything. I'm just
SD timeout is me, just for people that are wondering. Still my Xbox Live username as well. So here is Chris89 wading into the thread for the first time. 2 matches at the Irish Open, 1-1 last one. Had to borrow my little brother's Taekwondo belt. At least I think it's TKD anyway. It was a blue one anyway. I don't want any part of this shitstorm, but shit was blocked out, I think. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a sandbagger. If my coaches think I should wear a white belt, I will wear a white belt. Chris Leddy, through his data entry analyst career, was savvy enough on the Dell laptop to know to underline this particular sentence. Yeah. If my coaches think I should wear a white belt, I will wear a white belt. He was one step removed from turning it into italics to saying, I don't care what you people think. Thanks for the message, everyone. It was some experience. Didn't stick to my game plan at all. Nerves got the better of me big time. Had to scrap my way to a medal. Darragh's division is 3 today. We're all rooting for him. If your coach told you, that's what made you do it with him. Now, would you like me to skip through a page or two?
Yeah, so we'll be here all day reading this, right? Basically, what this progresses into is some people saying that I was essentially making a statement about the standard of next generation jiu-jitsu. And Chris Brendan himself creates...
He built an account.
He built a Boards. They probably had to use an ancient VPN at the time to get onto Boards.ie. He creates an account himself and is like essentially disrespected by it and says that the next generation standard should be upheld around the world. I apologize and have since made up with Dave Jones as I got older and as I started to understand how some of these things may have looked outside of the scope of just my own personal experience, I did reach out to him and like thanked him. He had long since stopped being my coach at this stage. He had essentially retired from the game, but I did make amends with him on a personal level. But Chris Brennan comes in and basically says, no, like the standard is the standard, and we would never give out a. This man came and just gave me a blue t-shirt without ever having met me. The facts are the facts. He should not have given me a blue t-shirt because I did not know very much, if any, jiu-jitsu, as proven by the video that we saw at the start of the thing. But hey, even still, there's no test that I had to do. There was no, a young, impressionable kid was basically without a decision from myself, was given this blue t-shirt, the standard of which was not explained to me. There was no context whatsoever. It was literally a t-shirt. If we want to be literal about it, I did not ever actually get a blue belt. But like I stand by everything that was done. And I think that the biggest issue here is that I was inappropriately awarded a very early blue belt after probably a year of training twice a week in an MMA gym, and then expected to uphold that standard
from that point on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just not fair. It's not fair on me,
My favorite part about the thread is that it had already been a couple of pages in, and people who hadn't yet commented on it decide to just come in and like give their blanket opinion and like not take into consideration everything else that had already been said. Like, let's call a spade here. Cheating occurred, and either it was a deliberate attempt or it was by his coach looking for glory. Let's not skirt around the issue here. I feel sorry for any of the white belts that he put out of the competition. You'd feel sorrier for the one that you found out he broke his arm now 15 years later. On a side note, maybe the powers that be will shed some light at this, as at the moment it's all guessing. P.S. Maybe Tony Souza should enter the brown belt category.
Tony Souza, a black belt under Hicks and Gracie in the gi. This is the stupid thing about all of this. Like, all of these people who trained in the gi and were grown men are having a go at, again, I know I'm 21 or something at the stage, but it's a 21-year-old in 2011 is not the same as a 21-year-old in 2025. The access to information, just everything. And think about this. I'm away from my family. I'm away from my friends. Me and Darragh literally sitting in some shite apartment in San Diego, other side of the world. And I'm going, fucking hell, reading this thing. I'm essentially being bullied online here by grown men calling me a cheater for something that I had no choice in whatsoever. I just did what I was told. Do you know what I mean?
As well.
Yeah, exactly. But you know who everyone is as well. Like, I know who everyone is because
somebody emailed the IBJJF.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that at all. I completely forgot that part. I'm gonna when we post this episode, I am gonna give people the opportunity. I think I'll include the link. Okay.
Of course, it's jiu-jitsu history.
If people want to go and have a look at it. Tom King throughout just asking you constantly to post a picture of the medal to annoy everybody, I think was
I know. What a legend.
A nice little touch. There was one thing that I think that you said while skimming through it there that holds true to today, and we will skip more so to like the last couple of years now in this discussion. The people that were agreeing with you, and I know you said maybe it was people had an opinion and they were siding with a predetermined argument or whatever. The ones that had experienced the traveling abroad, the competing, the whatever, they were the ones that generally sided with, like, well, he was told to do that. Great achievement. Well done. This is not a hard, this is an easy. And that is still generally the way today.
Yes.
Versus people who will have an opinion, maybe negatively, or throw stones or throw mud, are still the ones sitting at home, giving off that, I wouldn't send my student to the IBJJF Europeans. It's too expensive.
Yes, these are exactly that. These are, again, let's not hold people to whatever back then, right? Let's hold them
to right now.
Exactly. These are the same people who will be, the IBJJF is a robbery. That's a blatant robbery. These are those people. And let's even make a bigger, so the people who have not traveled and have not experienced a higher and wider level of jiu-jitsu are the people who are more misinformed about that. Okay. Now let's be super clear. Let's make a completely new sentence and let's not talk about those people at all. This is the same with like racists in Ireland who are like, fuck the immigrants. Do you know what I mean? Yous are just ill informed and you have no context of the wider world and the situation. And you do not see the irony in a lot of the things that you are saying. These people are leeching off our job. Typically, these are the people with less worldly experience. I need to be super clear that I'm not now connecting that to the people in that thread. That's not what I mean. The analogy is these particularly like hard line opinions on something are usually all coming from a lack of wider experience in the world, you know. And in our jiu-jitsu case, pretty much to a person, these were people against me who had just trained in their local gym and didn't want the finger to be pointed at, hey, maybe you're not actually a purple belt compared to the rest of the people in the world. And the people who were supporting me were like, without saying it, kind of being like, yeah, to be honest, what the fuck is a blue t-shirt? Do you know what I mean? And then everyone's kind of dancing around the topic of don't want to say something about a particular lineage or a particular, they don't want to. Dave Jones, a lovely man and looked after me so well. Chris Brennan is the legend of the sport. But the things that they said at the time, more so Chris Brennan, and the types of grades that he was traveling around the world throwing out, I would hope that he would not still do that now. Like it just wasn't what it should be, do you know? So yeah, it's like it's a relic of the time. And you're so right. Like these are the people who will be like, oh, I'm not going to the fucking IBJJF, and you know, holding the sport back.
So you come back, pitchforks are out. One of the things that I can remember from competing blue belts, there would not have been brown belts competing in Ireland at the time. So you would have regularly been the highest ranking person when you had ended up, this a few years later, you got promoted to purple belt. It would constantly have been a trifecta of you, Brendan McGarry, and Shane Galvin. Am I right?
McGarry, my nemesis.
Yeah.
My nemesis. Yes. Yeah, me and him, it was essentially me and him in every final for a long time. A legend.
So, like, even thinking about it from there, like, and like I'm writing this out. I was writing some of these notes out earlier on. Like I can remember Irish Open 2015 was in like the National Basketball Arena. Irish Open 2016 was in the City West Convention Center. Different things like that. For me, there was something a little more innocent about the whole thing back then. Like I don't want to say, like, the standard is obviously significantly higher now, and that's like you're talking about Stuart Carmody, whatever, that's like the gold standard. But it seemed that the internet, Instagram, Facebook, everything wasn't as powerful and as popular back then, and it seemed like you were kind of doing a cool thing. You know, it's the community seemed very smaller. The tournament seemed incredibly impressive. Like, as you said, you needed to use Facebook or Boards.ie as your reference point to find out about these sort of things. Like, what are your memories of competing in Ireland as a purple belt, one of the highest? There's a smile on his face here. I fear what he's about to say.
No. Just, well, as a purple belt, as like, it was just more normal to me to be doing things like that. I was broke, so like I never really got the opportunity to travel in the same way as some of the other people did. Like
Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners in the country.
Yeah, exactly. But like, no, some people who were maybe still working a bit or had different financial arrangements, they were able to do the same amount of training that I was able to do, and then go to the British Open, go to this, go to that. I basically like had to save up to go to the Europeans, for example. And that was like, right, that's me now for the year. And again, to point the finger at the standard back then, I basically, until I would fight Brendan McGarry, who often bet me in the final, or if I met him earlier in the division, I basically won every match that I would do when I was a blue belt and into a purple belt as well. I did very well competing in Ireland at the time. And then I would go abroad and I would lose my first or second match. And not because I was nervous, just because the standard was different. And also because my own standard was being curtailed, if you want to use that word, because I didn't have access to that higher standard as often, and I couldn't afford to go to the competition. So again, another finger pointed at Chris Leddy wins the Irish Open every time he does it, and then Chris Leddy loses first or second round at the Europeans. In fact, first round at the Europeans every time he's gone, you know. So memories of competing in Ireland, really good because I always won, but then it just didn't translate into, and you've talked about this as well on the podcast, is like, oh, okay, here's the medalists from this year's Irish Open. None of them, that's me not looking at the stats correctly, but let's just use it for conversation. None of them went to the Europeans. That's a shame. To be honest, the standard is so different, man, so different. The Europeans, being a financial commitment as it is, and being one of the majors as it is, attracts a higher level of competition. And it makes sense that more amateur competitors do not have their sights set on that, other than for the experience of it. It is good to go, and I always tell my students it's good to have a look at something like that, because you are exposed to, oh shit, look at how many people in the world do jiu-jitsu. Oh shit, here's those guys that I see on Instagram, there they are on the match. Oh my god, that's
is hilariously short in real life.
yeah. But man, the standard is so different. There are of course a few outliers. Again, without just making it all about him, Stuart Carmody has to be the best talent that Irish Jiu-Jitsu has ever produced, do you know? Undeniably. And he's purple belt now, especially what he did at blue belt. Unheard of. And blue belt at the major level isn't so close to black belt, especially in the lighter divisions, So like he is top tier grappler. And we just don't have as many people like that. There's 100 Stuart Carmodys in Brazil. Do you know? There's 100 Stuart Carmodys in America. There's still only he fucking bet them all. Do you know what I mean? So there's only one, right? But you know what I mean? That there isn't guys like him in this country yet. We are behind, and medalists. I am a perfect example. I have plenty of gold medal IBJJF Dublin Opens, plenty. And I pretty much lose first or second round every international that I've done. I've done a bunch of Masters Worlds, for example. Apart from when I was injured, I tried to travel to as many Masters Worlds as I could. And I think the best that I did was win a match and lose the second one on points or something like that. Like, the standard is massively different here. I am an Irish Jiu-Jitsu coach and I love Irish Jiu-Jitsu, but the royal we are blind if we don't accept that the standard is different. And that's okay. It's similar to how I had a conversation yesterday with a very emotional child in my kids class who has just bumped up to the older kids class and now is really, really upset that he's not the best person in the class anymore because he's now the youngest person in the class. And I, with the blessing of his family, I'm not like this super strict coach, but with the blessing of his family, I kind of had to have a word with him and say, hey, it's okay to not be the best. Like, that's fine. People are allowed to be better than you at this, and that's fine. Whereas it's almost like a dirty word in the community to talk about our level. The FAI, the Irish Football Association, has to understand. We have to understand that we're not the best in the world, and that's okay. That is okay. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just some dirty And it doesn't mean that the standard, well, hey, to be honest, it probably does mean that the standard of coaching is different. Me being one of those coaches, the methods of coaching can be just as good. And this again points to, like, there's all this big debate now about the ecological, all these different skill acquisition methods versus a more old school approach to training. Ultimately, it all boils down to the level of coaching, not the method of coaching, the level of coaching and the understanding of the game that we are trying to teach these people how to play. And it is just simply true that broadly, and again, I'm including myself in this, broadly, the level is not as good as elsewhere in the world, namely America, Brazil, of course, like France is obviously on the up and coming now. A few of the Scandinavian countries.
Podcasts. Have you heard me praising the French jiu-jitsu?
Did I listen to which podcast?
You must have just listened to one of the previous ones where I was praising the French.
Of course. But you know, it's true. If you look at the results, a lot of these people that would be offended by potentially what I'm saying don't watch international jiu-jitsu. They don't know who the top schools are. And it goes back to these are the same people who'll be like, oh, fuck the IBJJF, that's a robbery. That's an absolute robbery. You are ill-informed if you think that the standard is the same. That does not mean that we are bad, and it does not mean that we shouldn't be enjoying and loving jiu-jitsu. But if the standard was the same, we would have millions of world champions in Ireland, and we don't. So there you go. The facts are the facts. Do you know what I mean? We have thousands and thousands of people doing jiu-jitsu, and we have a very small, very, very, very small amount of people who have actually achieved success at the highest level. So there you go. It's just a fact that it isn't, the standard is not the same, which again makes it so funny that 15 years ago in that thread on Boards, some people are like, so are you saying that Irish jiu-jitsu is not as good? It's like, fucking hell, if it's not as good now, imagine what it was like back then with that Dublin Open video with 4 people in the crowd. Do you know what I mean?
I just wonder, like, what you think. I'm not trying to say that there is a solution, because I'm kind of like, every time I have conversations like this or think about it a little bit more, I kind of like flop on it a little bit. I obviously want to be a jiu-jitsu coach. Well, I am a jiu-jitsu coach, but I want to continue being a jiu-jitsu coach. I want to try and help people prepare for tournaments if that's what they choose and want to be able to do. But like, something like really, like what seems like so inconsequential. I'm going to explain a type of a pass to you here that our listeners may not, audio listeners. I crouch to combat base to face an open guarded opponent. Yeah. I reach forward with my right hand to grip the lapel with the intention of putting my left hand onto the mat and my right foot onto the mat, so I can kind of like slide or hop over my partner's knee into like a knee on belly type position. You see the lighter weight classes do it. They're smooth, they're slick, they're little transitions. You're nodding. Are you following me?
Yeah, people call that a surfer pass.
A surfer pass, okay? We were drilling this as a fun thing to warm up today. I said, I don't care if you're older and you need to put your hand on the mat and go slow, that's fine, whatever. But just have a bit of a laugh with it, right?
Yeah.
Recreational blue belt comes out in the sparring later on and wrecks everybody. Like, hits this on like 4 people in a row. You know, just at the start of rounds, passes purple belts, passes bronze belts with it. Now, gets emptied afterwards, but you can literally see the light bulb over his head. And I'm thinking, like, to me, that little thing there is nearly worth as much to me as like someone winning an Irish Open. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody having that like light bulb or eureka or whatever moment of being like, oh, I'm after doing something that I didn't know, that I didn't think I would ever be able to do, and it's kind of fun. Do you know what I mean? So I'm in a constant battle of being like, do you just want people to enjoy training and you be able to be healthy enough to be able to train and enjoy it yourself? Or do you want to try and like convince the 20-year-old who's a genius that, maybe like college, just like nipping in the bud for a year, like you can always go back, like you don't know how good you could be, blah, 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 if you just commit to this. Like, because really, like, you shouldn't be offering that. Like, I shouldn't, because it worked out well for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work out for someone else. You shouldn't. We shouldn't be offering that advice to people.
No. No, not at all. And we're
Especially
not
not
world
with the
champions. We're not
infrastructure
world
of
champions, you know?
yeah, especially not with the infrastructure of how things are. Stuart Carmody has to go off to Athos for months at a time to be able to help get himself to that level. It's not that he has elite training partners in Cork.
Our job and his, maybe I understand the lineage a little bit wrong, but like his first coach was Irisny. Is that, am I right there?
It is. No, like they still trains there.
Of course, of course, of course.
Galera.
Right. But, and the best thing that he did for all of the Carmody brothers, this is me looking, by the way, this is an outside view rather than a factual statement. I think the best thing that he did for them was enable them to love jiu-jitsu as much as they do. And my most successful student, Zara, and she is not just my student, she is a student of everyone that she's ever visited, as well as a student of Darragh and Marcus in East Coast as well, especially more so in recent years. The best thing that I ever did for her, and the only thing that I tried to do for her relentlessly, and have tried to do relentlessly over the years, was enable her to love jiu-jitsu as much as she does. And I understand that her and many of my other students, if they choose, have ahead of them the chances to achieve much higher levels of results than I could ever dream of doing, based on skill level, not based on opportunity, based on skill level. These people are objectively better for their current level than I was at that level. Absolutely. And some better than me now at that level. But the best thing that I can do for them is provide a platform where jiu-jitsu is available and fun. And that is our job as a coach. The people who decide, I think Dan said it on the podcast where you had him on, but like, what school, we don't have world champions because we do not have facilities set up to create world champions. We are not trying to create world champions. That does not mean that, okay, now I'm going to try and all of a sudden we're going to have loads. It takes so long. Zara and another young grappler who's been with me for so long, Carol, who coaches with us now. And this is not me saying they are the best in my gym or they are my favorite students, not at all. But they have been particularly successful in their competitive efforts. They started training with me when the gym first opened 10 years ago. They started training when they were kids. Dan said it so well on your podcast with him that you can't just decide, right, I'm going to be in the NBA. Whereas some people have this kind of like crazy outlook that like, oh, I'm going to start training to be a world champion. And it is possible at a colored belt master level. It absolutely is possible to go and achieve that because the standard is undeniably lower. That does not mean it is harder or that does not exactly. No, because you are also one of those older people with family commitments and like you are in the correct group there. But a world champion masters is simply not the same as a world champion adult. The talent pool is significantly different, and it is almost guaranteed that the people at blue belt master worlds, purple belt master worlds have not been training since they were children. Simply, like, and if they are, how the hell are they still a blue belt, right? So it is possible to become European champion, world champion, masters, blue belt, and that is something that we do have systems in place for, because the systems there are education in terms of technique and methods of training and regular sparring practice, and they have suitable training partners. The pool of training partners to become an purple belt, blue belt, brown belt, black belt world champion is significantly lower in Ireland, and the likelihood that we have black belts now who have been training since they were children, this is starting to change now, but the likelihood is massively different. The vast majority of the black belts in Ireland are 30 plus and have been training since they were adults, not since they were children. So it's just a result of the setup. And you asked me what could we do, or what the first thing that we could do is just accept that. And the second thing that we could do is not belittle ourselves because of that. Like it just is what it is. Like, I don't know, Harvard, is that like one of the best colleges in the world? Like if you're a science professor in Harvard, I don't know. That's just what they say in the movies, right? But if you're a science professor in Harvard,
Bit
okay,
of a
maybe
Yale guy.
bit of a
Roy,
all right,
Roy
right,
Gilmore
yeah,
chose Yale over
right.
Harvard and Gilmore
There,
Girls.
well, there you go, right? Or if you're, like, or I'm a science teacher in a secondary school in Bray, where I live. I have a job, and my job is to teach these people to the best of my ability. And the goals of these people is likely much different to the goals of the people in the top place. And also the path is different too. You go to train in AOJ, and you are training under and with many-time world champions. There's pictures on the wall. There is medals on the wall. There is a clear path. It's like Irish rugby. If you go to one of the top rugby schools, Leinster, Munster, you see, shit, Brian O'Driscoll went to this school X amount of years ago, and he was probably one of the best rugby players in the world. Do you know? You join a boxing club in Ireland, and you're like, shit, this is where Katie or Kelly Harrington trained, or this is where Katie Taylor trained. Fuck, I could do that too. And we have a girl in Bray, from Bray, who is now on the up and coming in the world of female boxing, and she can see, shit, Katie Taylor did that. It is just becoming a thing now, perhaps in Ireland. Shit, Stuart Carmody did that. And that's not, to be honest, just because he did it and we see it, that doesn't mean you can go and get it as well. Do you know? Like, he is an outlier, and outliers exist everywhere. But like, it just is what it is, that Irish jiu-jitsu, English jiu-jitsu, European jiu-jitsu broadly, again, obviously the landscape is changing, but broadly the standard is not as high, and that's fine.
It's crazy that, like, last week I had probably a penny dropping moment as a coach, or something quite insightful. We were over at the Junior Elite Worlds, which it shouldn't be called the Worlds, but I'm not going to slag them for that. The Junior Elite events in Wolverhampton. This guy, he lost in his second round in the absolute to a small Brazilian kid who didn't have a word of English, orange belt. And he was disappointed, and we were chatting in the venue afterwards, and just from how he was talking about, he does have an incredible, like, work ethic for his age. He's very responsible. He trains probably more than most adults that I know. And he had his second ever takeaway in his life with me and Cormac afterwards. And then he had his third ever takeaway at the airport as well, because we wanted Popeyes. He's half Lithuanian, half Russian. He just eats like proper all the time. But his little brother, who's only 10, who trains as well, texted him saying, "Oh my God, you competed against Ryan Pedro de Souza Perino, whatever, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "He's won like Brasileiros twice. What do you mean? How do you not know this?" So like a 10-year-old berating a 15-year-old for not knowing who the person that he competed against. But in my head, I'm seeing like, right, the 10-year-old is taking inspiration from what the 15-year-old has just done. He's just gone and competed against the guy that they see on Instagram, that they put on the pedestal, and now realize, like, I was grappling with this guy and it's human. I genuinely think it takes moments like that, and then everything has to go right for the other person for it to even potentially have a chance of going right in the future. But you need to have those like moments of realizing that you're doing this for someone else, or someone else is taking encouragement and support, and someone else can see a clear pathway established for them. And then they need to have like an unwavering commitment themselves. Anyway, there's so much that has to go right. What Seb has explained to me why Brazil is the way that it is because of stuff like social projects, and people are competing to get a chance to get a better life for themselves.
Yes.
Like
Darragh always talks about that as well, is like, you're a lot, and because obviously he has spent time in Brazil and he has visited a lot of these different gyms, and his wife is Brazilian, Gabby, and has a little bit of a different context than many people. But some of these people that, like, so I go to do the Europeans at Blue Belt. I'm living in my mom's house, and I'm driving her old car that she gave me a deal on, and she makes me dinner at nighttime when I'm a blue belt. Some of these guys that I go to compete against in the Europeans, Brazilian guys, have been selling cakes on the side of the road to get money together to go and do this competition because they don't have access to education unless they do jiu-jitsu. Maybe it's a social project thing, or the path to making something of your life is sell drugs or get good at this sport, do you know? And that is, we are up against it. We are up against it. And then it's different. America is different because there is obviously a lot of more privileged people in America who do very well, but the sporting culture in America is so different. And being coached, like college sports and high school sports are essentially professional training regimes. Think about if you're a college soccer, basketball, wrestler, baseball, the size of the stadium, there is a professional coach in your school whose job is just to coach you. Whereas my football coach in school was the technical graphics teacher. Do you know what I mean? We do not have that same heritage of, and even from a being coachable perspective. And I've noticed this even with my other work too. A lot of the, like with my just online coaching and stuff, a lot of the clients that we get are from America, and a lot of people from that part of the world respect the idea of being coached in a much different way than Irish people do. And I am also an Irish person, so I'm tongue in cheek with some of my students, and I don't like them to call me coach, and I don't like them to revere me in any special way. But the lack of that in Ireland is also another reason why, like, think, you know, I don't like bowing to your instructor. That's not me,
I
right?
hate being called coach, and the
Right.
bowing
So,
thing is,
so do I, right? But you go to America, hey coach, thank you coach, yes coach, no coach, I'm sorry coach. That's not, I'm not saying that that's what I want, or that's not what I'm saying that I want people to do that to me. It is a view of the, how seriously people view getting better at something in different parts of the world, do you know, and the rewards on the other side of that. And the coach is a important figure in the community. This is again just me talking about America. Even think about American media and movies, like, you know, Coach Carter and movies like this, right? Whereas the coach in Ireland is a fella doing it part-time because his son is on the team. That is broadly speaking. Of course, there is fantastic coaches, especially in more professional outfits. And again, I am one of these people, and I'm very proud of the work that I do. And all of these people should be proud of the work that they do as well. I'm not negging anyone's efforts in Ireland. More so, I'm saying it is different in other parts of the world. And that is one of the big reasons why sporting success, and there's that whole GAA argument as well, you know, like that a lot of the resources and a lot of the athletes. Say again?
Well, like GA is the focus.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like that's, yeah, and that's the how to make your family proud, and that's how to represent your community, and Whereas in a lot of these places, I want to represent my township in fucking wrestling. I'm wrestling for my college. Wow, I have a scholarship in college. Somebody talked to me about like a conspiracy or something the other day about like,
let's get into it.
Yeah, right. That, like, do you know the way medical expenses and college tuition fees are so expensive in America?
Surgery in
right?
America. Yeah.
But it's all free if you join the army, right? So there's like lots of these things are like funneling you to become a soldier, for example, right? Now that's just a step. My point was there's so much more opportunity in America if you become an athlete, for example. Okay, like if you are, especially for, and isn't it true of like pretty much everywhere in the world that a lot of, for football players especially, a lot of the best football players come from like disadvantaged backgrounds, do you know?
Trying to get out of a certain area.
Exactly. And so it's like these people's lives depend on, and we are lucky in Ireland that we have, it's fucking expensive here and nobody can buy a house. But broadly speaking, most people are living above the poverty line, broadly speaking, do you know?
So I've been trying to get this clip here to get it up to be able to just do one more little screen share, but it's like you've touched on it so many times that it like it's just in my head. It seems like you can't iMessage to iMessage yourself. This is a huge. I was trying to send myself an iMessage while talking to you, and now I've just sent it to consistentlyAboveAverage@gmail.com. You said about people selling cake on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So Europeans 2019, I was competing as a purple belt. Now, for example, the year before, the purple belts to watch out for, I was also a purple belt at the time. Flow Grappling says Thaleson Suarez,
Yeah,
Diego Pato, and Jonas Andrade, Andy Murasaki, Gutierre Barbosa, Italo Mura, Roberto Jimenez, Connor DeAngelis, like Mason Fowler. The following year, Eric Muniz, Tynan Dalpra, like, and it's mad to think that like people were going away thinking like, yeah, fuck, this is the year. But
yes, exactly.
The guy who bet me first round was a guy called Eduardo Roque, and Seb said to me afterwards, now you know what it's like to compete against somebody who's trying to change their life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That this is a guy that had to come from nothing, that flew from thing. And it's like,
yeah,
here, you'll see it here. The match went 6.5 minutes, and I don't think I had a serious offensive output. Got caught by Flow Grappling, highlighted by Flow Grappling, put on the thumbnail of me being choked. Do you know that sort of stuff?
Yeah. And you know what else as well, right? This is just a general thing too. People can get like, and I think you were quite realistic about this, but people can get disillusioned by, oh, I fought this really good person and they only bet me by points, or I fought this really good person, and losing is losing, right? And if you've been on the winning side of it as well, especially at a competition where you potentially have 10 matches to get through, you just float through it sometimes. Do you know? Like a lot of these guys, being beaten 1-0 in the World Cup or being beaten 10-0 makes no difference. You still got bet, you know? So a lot of these people will put like a lot of people of a lower standard, or no, let me rephrase that. A lot of people who will go to a big tournament and fight someone of a higher standard can take misjudged confidence sometimes from, oh, Jesus, he only bet me by 1 advantage. Yeah, he bet you. And he only needed to score 1 advantage because he had 5 more matches to do that day. Do you know?
You were not the biggest threat at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think we both have been in situations before where we've gone away from something feeling that at the time. And it's only through experience that you then realize, oh, well, he didn't actually need to go out of that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But
my most recent one, I got smoked by, I don't know how to pronounce his second name. I think it's like Iturralde. Sinistro is his nickname. He's the guy that I think was involved in that, like someone got their neck broken in the gym scam, or not scam, claim. Scam is the wrong word. I fought him first round at Masters No-Gi Worlds and just guillotined me so fast, right? I lost that match the same way I would have lost that match if it was 2-0 because he let me fart around for the whole match, you know? I went to do that tournament because Zara was competing in that tournament. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. All right. I went to go, and because Zara was going. If Zara was not there, I would not have thought that it was worth my investment.
The outlet, bit of Christmas shopping.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But do you know, I've always been, and maybe it's to my disadvantage as well, but I am not the person believe and achieve. Like, I don't care how much I jigged myself up before that. I can do this. The on paper facts are that I probably cannot do this. Ireland football team, when they go to the World Cup, it doesn't matter how good the team talk is, they're the massive underdogs here. And I think that there is some benefit in being realistic there, do you know, and preparing your students on the other side of it, because there's that too. There's, right, lads, we're going to the Euros here. Every single one of you guys can do this. And then your lads are going to their first Euros and they're like, yeah, come on. We've been training 3 times a day. I haven't missed a training session at 7 a.m. for the last 3 months. I'm going to go to the Euros. They fight some lad, puts them in a position they've never seen before, scores an advantage, holds on to it for the whole round. And they're like, fuck, that's the end of that. Do you know? And it is important, I think, that we chase better and better and better, of course. But then it's also important that we don't project a lot of coaches' goals, I think, are focused more on how it looks to the other coaches and how their standing will be perceived in the world of coaching, especially more locally, if they have a student that does well, rather than just like do the best job for everybody. Do you know? Got to do my girlfriend is a secondary school teacher, and she obviously teaches people who really like being taught and people who don't like being taught. And it is difficult to teach to the whole group. But the goal at the end of that is that they all sit the same exam. Whereas we have a room full of people who are not going to sit the same exam at the end of whatever their goal is. And we naturally have to give equal attention to everybody. But like, it makes sense that some of the people who are more keen end up getting a little bit more attention, maybe not even with like favoritism in mind, just convenience. Like if you're there every day and you're hanging around after training and you're texting me asking me about something, naturally you're going to get more out of it than someone who isn't. But like broadly, we just have
maybe this is like pulling up a veil here that you don't want to kind of admit, but it's very hard not to be biased and want to help the people more that you see all the time. That you
not at all. I'm so honest about that. So honest about that.
Knowing that if they didn't show up for this class, you would think, something happened. That's very out of character that they've missed that. Do you know what I mean? That class.
No veil at all there. I'm super honest about that. And I actually had a small bit of criticism before, that somebody kindly told me, hey, Chris, do you know that there's a bit of talk about this and people are saying this about you? And I put it to bed straight away. Basically, the criticism was that you're giving Zara and Carol more attention and you're traveling to go and compete with them more than you're giving other people. And I says, whoa. First of all, I'm traveling to compete with them because they're signed up to go and compete in this competition. These other people did not sign up to go to the competition. That does not mean I dislike the other people. It means I can't go and support them at a competition that they're not signed up to do. And then there's the stone gathering moss effect as well of, right, well, they've done one big competition. Now they have their sights set on the next one and the next one and the next one. They also begin to get sponsorships as well. So there's some financial help to go and do next competition. Then there's the obvious, they're there more than some of the other people. I see them every day. They're there more than the other people. Of course, they are going to, you get to know the person in work that you sit beside more than you get to know the person that you just see on lunch, right? You're with this person more. So there's a natural growth of the relationship there. And then finally, specific to this exact example, I taught these people from children to adults. And in some ways, you view them as your family. Like I have literally seen them grow up from children to adults. I did not raise them. That's not what I mean at all. But I was there when they were this, when they were that, when they were this, when they were that. Of course, they are going to get more attention. And it actually pissed me off that I didn't ask for the names of who were talking about this, but it pissed me off that people would be upset about that. It's like, hang on a fucking minute. Do you know? That's like that old thing. Do you know the way like lads, this one of the lads there got a new girlfriend and now he's spending all his time with her. What a prick. It's like, are you fucking serious? Like this guy loves this girl and wants to have a future with this person. Yous are just drinking cans in a fucking shed. You're trying to do the same. You know what I mean? Like, of course, let him go and let him create this new life, you know, and let him put his energy into what he wants to put energy into, you know. Now, I pride myself as a coach of doing the best job for everybody. Huh? Yeah, still seeing the boys. No, I don't see the boys at all anymore. But no, I pride myself as a coach as trying to, especially in the gym, I'm going to coach who's there, and I'm going to help everyone who's there. And my goal is the overall level of the gym. That's my main goal. My secondary goal is, Jesus, fucking cool that Zara is European champion, and I really believe that she will be world champion black belt in the future. And I'm like, Jesus, that's so fucking cool. I never dreamed that I would be a part of that, you know. But yeah, it pisses me off so much that people think that, like.
You have given me a good bit of advice over the years. Do you want to know the one that stuck the most? What if you were to think what was the most insightful advice you passed on to me? What would it have been?
That those bacon baps aren't as good for you as you think. No. All right. If I'm being really honest with that question,
last 2 weeks actually. I'm going to see him on Monday for the first time in 2 weeks. But go
stock up on the toilet roll. Stock up on the toilet roll in advance. Okay, if I want to be really honest, maybe something to do with, and you've kind of given me a clue, so now I think I'm going to get it wrong. But okay, I do remember.
Give me. You can give more than one answer.
I do remember telling you that I believe that it is not the amount of training that you do, it's the quality of training that you do. And there's people that are out there slogging it 3 times a day, because I have lived this. I have been this person as well. There's people out there that thinking, I train more than these other people, I should win. No, it is whoever is training the best that should win. Do you know? You can go to school every day and have a shit teacher, a shit maths teacher, or you can just go 2 times a week and have the best maths teacher in the world who will give you a different understanding of how it works, and yada, yada, yada. That tracks back to what I said about the strength and conditioning thing at the very start of this. There's good and bad everything. So it is incorrect to say that, okay, if you do strength and conditioning, now your jiu-jitsu will get better. If you do good strength and conditioning, your jiu-jitsu may get better. If you train 3 times a day, your jiu-jitsu is going to get better. It depends on what you're doing. It definitely depends on what you're doing. But that's probably not what you were thinking. So close. I don't know.
Don't even remember that conversation.
Fucking hell. Do you know? All right, there you go.
I do. But you've given me 2 particular ones. One was we had spoken about clicks, and you had said the way about worrying about stuff like this in gyms, because it is inevitable that as things grow, people become friends with each other.
Yeah.
People then fall out with each other. People then go elsewhere or whatever. And regardless of what happens in this situation, both sides of the party feel that they were entirely in the right and that the other person was entirely in the wrong, like whatever. And I said, as someone who just started coaching, I had said to you, what do you do to make yourself to notice clicks, and how do you fix them? You said, you either become the click yourself, or you exclude yourself from absolutely everything to do with the social element of your gym, and no one can make a click to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you're either
right. That's
available to everybody. There you go. Available to everybody equally, or not available to anyone at all.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Yeah, pretty much. There's a group of so first of all, I think you're allowed to have a click, right? Like if you go to jiu-jitsu and you train with people more than others,
and you're friends, of course. Yeah,
amazing, and of course.
Wrong phrase, I suppose, in that sense, but like
no. But I know what you mean, and I hope other people know what you mean as well. There's a few people in my gym going on a holiday together soon, and my brother is going on the holiday, and I'm not going. 1, because they didn't ask me to go, but 2, because I've said no, because I've
invite Chris next time.
Why didn't you invite me? No, but I'm glad that I'm not going, because I don't want. They're all younger than me as well, first of all, right? So that's, it's probably, that's not the vibe. Do you know, if they were going out for dinner and Chris, would you come? Of course I'll come. But I remember, I think it was Darragh actually telling me that it was something that Lovato taught him, was that like, you're not these people's friends, do you know? And people will become like jealous if they see you doing this with this person.
Business owner there.
But you're not like these people, but it's, you're not, I'm not your, I'm friendly, but I'm not your friend. Because I've never been to your house. You've never been to my house. Do you know, if you have a friend who you've never been to their house, or you don't know their wife's name or their husband, boyfriend's name, you're probably not their friend. Just because we see each other every day does not mean that we're friends. We are friendly, and it does not mean, there's no negative connotation to that either. Oh, we're not friends. I hope that you don't consider me your friend, because I hope your friends that you really have are much more involved in your life than I am. I don't know what so many of my students do for work. I don't care. We're here to talk about jiu-jitsu. Do you know? Well, let's do jiu-jitsu. Let's love jiu-jitsu together. Yada yada yada. But yeah, like, I think I know of some people who have been excluded from their gym and essentially banished from their gyms in Ireland because they were like in a clique and they weren't very welcoming to new members in the club. It's a fucking business. If I go to Fly Fit Gym, my job going to the gym, I'm just a member of the gym. I don't have to welcome the new member in and be like, how's it going, mate? Here's how you use the chest press machine. I go to the fucking gym and just do my thing. We are paying members of a service. I would be a bad paying member of the service if I'm a gym user, some new lad comes in and I'm like, yeah, fuck you, and I just fucking start being rude. You know, you don't want like rude people in your gym, but you don't need people to help you run your gym. These people are your members. Do you know what I mean? These people are your students. So I think that there is a lot of like, I think there's a big problem in the jiu-jitsu world of that is like people expecting the students to do their job for them, and then as a result, oh, you guys are in a clique, and that's not very welcoming to the new. These people are adults. Like, if you are an adult and you're like, I'm being excluded, it's like, fucking hell, like, come on, grow up. Like, you know, that's something that kids on the playground talk about. Excluded. I couldn't care. I do jiu-jitsu because jiu-jitsu is fun. I do not care if people talk to me at jiu-jitsu class. Do you know? It's a natural thing that they do because I'm the teacher and because I see them every day, but I don't fucking care. Do you know? Like, one of my favorite things to do when I'm healthy is visit another gym.
Nobody knows you.
And just roll with everybody. And you don't have to be, you don't have to be anyone except the guy that's just going to do jiu-jitsu. One of my best training experiences ever was I went to America by myself for 2 months, just by myself. And I trained in a few different places in San Diego. I stayed by myself. I didn't hang out with anyone outside of the gym. People are so nice. Oh, Chris, come to my barbecue. I'll have you over at the house. We'll watch I was like, oh no, I don't like that. Jiu-jitsu is cool, social thing, but the social thing should be jiu-jitsu. We've never had a club barbecue. We've never had a club Christmas party. People are welcome and do organize their own little ones and invite everyone to it in the WhatsApp. But the social aspect of it is the thing. And I do think it starts to get messy when people start trying to create all of these other things that it isn't out of it. And that's when jealousy starts, and that's when relationships start and people break up and now they hate each other, and now you lose some of your best people in the gym. I just completely remove myself from that. Completely. I don't want to do anything like that. You know, we don't go karting. We don't go fucking, we just do jiu-jitsu, and I love it. And I hope they love it as well. Do you know?
And then we'll wrap up in the next, I'm giving you an out here. Right. I'd say 15 minutes. Is that all right?
Mate, as I said to you on Instagram yesterday, yeah, I'm flattered that you think I have anything to do with my life, especially now that my back is fucked and I'm recovering. When I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, I'm not doing anything. But yes, I'm sure you have things to do.
It wasn't for you.
Yeah. Do your thing.
I've been drafted in. So just again, not that it matters in the context. The best training sessions I've had in the last couple of weeks is going to New Ground on a Sunday morning, hopping in the car, telling no one. Nobody knows. Yep. They know now.
Yep.
Place will probably be swarmed tomorrow morning. And
yeah, paparazzi outside.
Just going up and doing nogi and just training and just get on so well with Simon. I love Simon. I love Marty. I love Reedy. There's good training there for me. And for the tournaments that I want to be doing later on in the year, this is for me to go and think this is what I'm going to work on with people that I don't train with regularly, that this is for me, you know?
Yeah.
And tonight I've been drafted into collecting my best mate from the airport, coming home from Turkey at 1:30 in the morning, not for a hair transplant. So I may not get in the morning. So me and my other friends, I've told them we're going to Dublin. I want a Bunsen burger. They can go in the piss. And then we'll collect our friend from the airport at 1:30 this morning. So that's why I'm saying in about 15 minutes we'll have to go.
Yeah. Of course.
Before we, and there's one or two things I want to touch on about Zara, but you said another thing to me was that stop being so hard on yourself, that with a bit more of positive reinforcement and encouragement at certain times, like you could have won that match or you could have done a little bit better. Do you remember what we're talking about here?
No.
Do you want to open your phone and I'll text you?
Fuck. What did I say? There you go. I'm just a well of these things, you know. And look as well, sometimes just the right thing, say something, the right thing at the right time. You just think about it out of your arse, you know.
I've DM'd it to you.
Yes. Yeah. Man.
So you are known, in my opinion, and I am confident in it as well, but you are a very good coach and corner man in a tournament scenario. You will breed confidence into your athletes when they're there. It's also annoying to be competing against it or to hear it when you're like, and then you're getting frustrated thinking, will this jab ever shut the fuck up? Will you shut up? Like, how important is it as a corner man, as a coach, when you're going to tournaments to help people, to be positive, to be clear, to be loud, reaffirming, and not to be harsh, if that makes sense? What is your ethos on this? Because this was
incredibly important. And if you're lucky enough to coach people like Zara, like I have coached, who is maturing into one of the best, you know, but has had in her journey to where she is now, has had so many sad days at competitions where it didn't go as planned. I'm thinking of one, Nogi Worlds in particular, where, and I'm not sure if she'll listen to this, but she'll know exactly what I'm talking about. She basically just forgot how to do jiu-jitsu, and she's deep into being so good at jiu-jitsu, and the girl just like held her ankle on the bottom in the first round, and Zara just kind of shat herself. And she's known for being so good at passing. It was a combination of things that led to that performance. But my job there is just it's going to be okay. Like, you know, you're so good at this. This has this is a blip in the future of your jiu-jitsu, you know. And again, I am lucky to be even a small part of that. And it's been a long time since I've taught her a technique in jiu-jitsu. It has been a very, very long time since I've taught her a technique in jiu-jitsu. In the more recent years, what it has been is just support and like just little talks about, hey, you're so fucking good at this. Like, you are so good at this, particularly around the time of competing. And her brother Mario, I have cornered him in MMA a lot of times. I don't know anything about MMA, but I'm pretty chilled out about the whole situation, and I'm not like, oh, let's fucking, you know what I mean? I'm just, me and him sitting. Yeah, no. Me and him just like sitting backstage before it. He's doing his warm-ups and stuff, and then I'm just chill. I'm just there. I'm chilled. I'm not freaking out. I'm not panicking. I'm not projecting my nerves onto their nerves. I'm not making an already anxious, emotional, high energy situation more emotional or high energy than it needs to be. And concise cornering in the moment. And this is not me tooting my own horn, but I am so sure that I have won my students hundreds of matches over the year by saying the right thing at the right time. Hundreds of matches. And I see the opposite at tournaments as well, where maybe the person's a great coach, but they have not considered how they are cornering their people. Like, you need to, everything that we do, we should spend a little bit of time thinking about, is there a better or a worse way to do this? And some coaches go to competitions and corner their athletes and it's just random, the stuff that they're saying. And it's often terrible advice. I'm sure you've been at competitions, Andrew, where you're standing at the barrier. Might not even be your teammates on the mat, and somebody says something beside you, and everyone at the barrier kind of looks at each other and goes like, "What the fuck is that guy talking about?" Do you know? Like, there
Happened
is.
last week. Yeah.
It's not just good advice and not so good advice. Some people
Yeah.
are doing the worst job in the world cornering, and it's because they've not put any thought into it. And it's also because they want to be seen and heard. I don't care about being seen and heard. And I also don't care, because I know that, especially earlier in my cornering days, I know that like some of the other people that we were against, I know they wouldn't have liked how I was doing it. I was never rude, I don't think, and I was never inappropriate, but they wouldn't have liked how vocal I was being. And hey, this is what they're trying to do, and you need to do this to stop it, and being super, super, super direct with it. And I don't care. I don't care if they don't like me. And I think that's a really important superpower that I have in that position, is that I don't care what the other person thinks of me. My job is to help the person who trains with me, and my job is to be appropriate as well, and to be, especially in an environment like that where there's children and stuff, like my job is to be appropriate, but I do not care if the people on the other side of it think that I am being, too much or rude or something like that. So I know, right thing, right time, positive reinforcement. And like, I've seen so many people, they do something wrong in a match, and it could be literally objectively the wrong thing to do. Like, of course, everybody fucks up. You do the wrong thing, you reach for the wrong grip, you get your guard passed. If the coach on the corner is like, fuck's sake, what the hell is that? Oh yeah, cheers. Like, that's exactly what you want to hear. Do you know? And what that is that coach trying to tell the people around them, look at me, I know about jiu-jitsu. That's what that is. It is an
What about the walk
egotistical
off?
thing.
What about the walk off?
Yeah, no, embarrassing. It's like, who do you, I
Didn't.
know who you're going to tell. I know you're going to text me, but you don't even need to text me about
No,
it.
I'm not. No, I'm just using that as the example.
All right. I thought you were going to, there's somebody recently at a tournament. I actually had to go up to the athlete after it, and was fighting against one of my teammates. I had to go to the athlete after and say, mate, like, don't mind that guy. Don't mind that guy. That's not fair. You keep doing your thing. You're so good at this. And I just genuinely felt bad for the person in question. It was a young person who really, really loves jiu-jitsu, and their coach, who is not as good as the athlete that was on the mat, objectively is not as good at jiu-jitsu as the person that was on the mat, was furious with them that they weren't winning the match. Furious to the point of walking off. Furious to the point of not going to the podium to clap for them and take a photo of them. This person had lost the match and was on the podium in a two-man division by themselves, with no teammates, with nothing. And I, visibly a little bit dejected, and I went to them after. I said, mate, don't mind that. Like, that's horrible, basically. And to be honest, in fairness, this person didn't really seem to think about it like that. They were like, don't worry, appreciate you, Chris, but don't worry. But no, bullshit. And what it is an egotistical thing. And that coach in that position trying to posture to all the people around them, being like, I know about jiu-jitsu, look at me, I'm so good. And the ironic thing, and this is always the same in any walk of life, people who actually know what they're talking about are looking at that going, well, what a dickhead, what a fucking dickhead. Whereas they think that people are looking at them going, oh, they must think I'm so cool, do you know? And it's fucking cringe. It is cringe, and it is just, it's horrible. I hate to see it.
So I have felt conscious about cornering and coaching sometimes, because you don't want to be loud. You feel like you don't want to be that guy who is and like you're saying, you don't care what other people think. Previously, I did care what other people think. Now I'm at the stage now, thankfully what you've said will resonate. I'm like, this is the guy that I train with or teach 6 days a week. and I see, and he's told me what he wants from this, and I know how hard he's worked. I'm not going to be quiet in a situation when I think he could do something urgently to improve this position if it makes the difference between helping him win this match and win the tournament and get the... Now, ultimately, it's the person out there that has to do the thing and stuff like that. But I have shied away from saying the right thing, what I thought was the right thing at the right time, for fear of how it would look. And then I've done it the opposite way. And sometimes I've told someone to do something and then they get caught and I'm like, I've just cost that person that match.
Yeah,
but
well, then it is. Look, it is. Yes, it is trial and error. And look, if you have cost them the match, it was the wrong thing to say. Do you know?
Yeah.
And that's fine. It is what it is. But like, then you need to be careful. You need to be. I am confident in the things that I say because I only say certain things. Like, do you know? If I don't know what to say, I won't say anything. And if I don't know what to say, I will say, "Come on, let you do something broad." Balance here, like balance. If you can call the move that you think that the person's going to do, call the move. But like, yeah, I think that when I view two people having a match, and this really helps me coaching as well, I can feel myself in the position, and I can look at two people doing jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, this feels like this for the person. I can feel where the gap is. I can feel how to make the gap to a point. Like if I'm going to coach, you know, I'm not going to corner Darragh at like the Brasileiro final. And if I am, the things that I'm going to say are probably not going to be as technical as me cornering a blue belt or a purple belt, do you know? But why else are we going to the competition as the coach? Like you're not going to fucking pack their lunch for them. You're going to coach them. And it is such a good coaching opportunity. Like you can teach people so much in a competition, more so than you can teach them in a class, because if you call the right thing at the right time in the match, and if you're not afraid to be strict with them as well. Like I'm not negative, but I have told some of my students after the match, mate, like, come on, you're so much fucking better than that. What are you scared of? Like, why are you not opening up here? Why are you not? Well done, but like, you are so much better than that, do you know? But when someone loses, that's not the conversation. That's not the conversation. Who the hell do we think we are? Do you know what I mean? It's different fucking Guy Mendes having a go at you. It's different fucking Andre Galvao solo having a go at you. Multiple time world champions. Who the fuck does anyone in essentially Irish BJJ think they are having a go at their student at that level? Do you know what I mean? We have not, none of the coaches have gone and performed at the level that we hope that our students will perform at. Barring a few, of course, a few. But again, I'm speaking broadly. You know, I'm speaking about me. Zara lost to Sarah Galvao, final of the No-Gi Worlds last year.
Very narrow match.
Yeah, Sarah Galvao smoked everyone else. What am I going to do after? I'm like, hey, I know you can beat her. I know you can fucking beat her. But like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Her life, your life is jiu-jitsu, but her life is jiu-jitsu. Think about the opportunities she has. Think about, do you know what I mean? And that's like her Everest. Is like, you can fucking climb that, but it's important to be grounded about the whole thing as well. Do you know? Who the hell do I think I am giving out to Zara that she did not become world champion when I'm not even fucking the British Open champion? Never mind world champion. I'm not even fucking British Open champion. Do you know what I mean? And I've like, she is our proof of work. So it's like, you're the first person to go and do this. And that's like, and to be honest, she is her own proof of work. I try not to take that much credit in the situation at all. Again, to go back to what I said earlier on, the best thing I can do for her, and the best thing that I have done for her, is teach her that jiu-jitsu is fun and jiu-jitsu is cool and that you should love it so much. And then there you go.
That's what I want to finish on, because what is your difference of opinion compared to a couple of years ago when Zara was starting to do a little bit better at blue and purple belt versus now when she's knocking on the door of black belt and competing at such a high level? Like, surely you have learned different things. Like, you are, if you don't mind me making a joke about it, you're a lot more mellow now than you were 10 years ago, or as a person. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not taking things as serious. Not taking things as serious, you know what I mean? But realizing that there's a broader, grander scale.
Yeah. That's just maturity, though, isn't it? Like, of course.
Well, hopefully we all are more mature than we were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But like, if you could think of like what are one or two of the things that you figured out through coaching competitors like Zara, like, is it changes to your class structure? Is it changes to how you're doing things in the gym? Is it changes to mannerisms? Like you said, a good thing there about Mario being like, he knows who you are. He's trained jiu-jitsu the whole way through. He wants that. Like, there's a guy that you may see with me at tournaments. His name's Cormac O'Hanlon. He's due a hip surgery. He would be the last person to shout anything for me during a match. But I've known him for 15 years and he's been my closest friend through jiu-jitsu, and he knows how hard I train, and we know each other so well that there probably isn't a single person in the world that I would want with me at the tournament than him, even if it's only to tell me hard luck afterwards if I lose or well done if I win. You know? So what have you learned the last couple of years?
That people like her are rare. Again, I have very, very, very good people in my gym, and they are also a part of her success. Like, very good people. It's her training partners are also part of that as well. But she is on paper the person who has put herself out there the most, right? And that is true. There are a number of factors there. I'm sure there are some people who would want to do that, but they have different responsibilities at home. But let's just call a spade a spade. She has gone and done and tried so many times what other people haven't. Okay. So there is lots of good people in the gym, but she's putting herself out there. My job is to support that. My job is to encourage that. My job is to acknowledge the work that she does herself. She does an incredible amount of research herself. My job is to encourage and facilitate like cross training. Don't even facilitate. That's not even my job. That's not even, I don't even mean to take credit for that. But again, I really don't think I've taught her much about jiu-jitsu in the last few years. Not at all. Not at all. I just gave her a good base, I think. Perhaps a few little nuggets here and there, but like there is a world of reasons why she's the person that she is and why her level is what it is. Someone who would have done less cross training is Carol, another brown belt that we have, and he's gone and done pretty fucking well at some big tournaments himself. Like, put the amount of people in the divisions when he goes to no-gi Euros, for example, is much bigger than the amount of people that in the female divisions, right? That is not, it's not a chat about the standard or to belittle or build up the difference, but he hasn't had the same medal success. He also hasn't done or put himself out in the same amount of times as Zara does. But I know he's so fucking good. And most recently, no-gi, him and Connor Marin both got bronze at the most recent no-gi Euros. Man, Carol was fucking killing lads out there. Not just like fluking through a match, battering lads. Like, and I'm screaming at him between the matches, mate, you're going to flatten this next lad, because he doesn't have the same. Zara has been and done it so many times. So she has gotten so used to managing her emotions and managing her expectations. I felt a responsibility to like pull aside and talk to Carol in a different way than I would have to talk to Darragh about, like, mate, you are so fucking good at this and you don't know how good you are at this. And if you knuckle down here, you're going to win this whole thing. And it just went a little bit deep for him. He could have and should have won that whole division on that day. And that's actually one of the only times ever. And I'm so close with him that I felt it was appropriate to say this. But when the dust kind of settled down, myself and Adam made it very clear to him on that day, you fucked that gold medal was yours and you kind of gave up. Do you know that old thing of you get the bronze and you kind of like, right, that's me. You work so hard. He put together like matches to get to that podium. And he actually nearly got DQ'd in his first match. No. He nearly lost his first match. The guy put him in a footlock and rolled the wrong way, and Carol tapped. And it was an illegal footlock. And this is like within 1 minute of his first match. The guy was super good. Like, really, the guy was the favorite for the division that Carol lost to in the first match. There was this big break when they were I'm screaming at the ref, that's the wrong way. That's the wrong way. They went and they checked they checked the VAR, and the guy got DQ'd. So Carol has gone from, oh shit, there's the whole thing gone. Like, I'm so good at this. Chris has been telling me I'm going to fucking win this thing, and I've lost my first match. To 2 or 3 minutes of standing on the mat waiting for the decision. Right now, I'm back in it, and I'm like running over to the warm up area, being like, "Mate, that's gone. That is gone. You can do this today." And next match, and then he kind of, just got a little bit complacent and lazy in the last match, which he would admit himself. But I was strict and I was honest with him. I wouldn't tell other people that, because I don't think that some other people would have had it in them. I don't have it in myself to win a gold medal in that division, but he did, and he should have. Zara lost to Sarah Galvao, purple belt gi final. I think it was the first time that she ever fought her. She basically kicked the shit out of Sarah Galvao for the whole match.
That's the match I was thinking of. That was the one when I said how close it was. I know they've had close matches, but that first team that competed against each other.
She lost by 2 points, and in the last 30 seconds of the match, she was basically chasing Sarah Galvao's back to put 2 hooks in. And there was a point in the match where it was so obvious that what the thing to do was mount her. You've lost the back. She should have mounted her. 4 points. 1, purple belt, European champion. More importantly, have bet the number 1 girl in the world at that weight and experience. And she just fucked it. And me and Darragh's wife, Gabby, are like, mount, screaming it. Not because of what it would mean to us, but because of what it would mean to her, right? Like, I didn't want her to win because of how it would have looked for me or the team. I wanted her to win for her because of being with her and all the other times that she didn't win. So there's another one. After it, I was like, mate, what the fuck? Like, hey, we love you, but you should have fucking mounted her. Do you know what I mean? So like, no, just honest, man. I don't know. Just everything evolves in the same way that they all evolved, we evolve. And it's easier to say things like that to people who you've spent more time with and you've traveled with and you've had ups and downs with. Myself and Zara have had many occasions where we fell in and out with each other as well. But ultimately, it all comes down to, let's remove personality and let's remove differences of opinion about things to, we have grown up together. We absolutely love you. And, you are so special at what you do. And in whatever way we can support that, we will try to support that, but that's our job. She doesn't need a coach. She doesn't need a coach, but she doesn't need help at getting, I don't need to teach her a jiu-jitsu move. I need to remind her as often as I can, you are so fucking good at this and you can actually go and do something super special here. Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that kind of, like, maybe also as well, that some coaches can hang on to for too long and thinking, I think you said it earlier on, or were about to say it and whatever. Like, the best thing Galera did for the Carmodies was to kind of make them love jiu-jitsu and then tell them, now this is where we're still going to be here. Like, I'm a firefighter in Cork and I still have the gym and I still have to teach. But you do not need to be here right now. You need to go to, like, Stuart Carmody told me before that, like, Galvao himself put him in for the Nogi Absolute at Nogi Worlds. And there was plenty of Atos medalists. And he said, Stuart's doing it. His group of 3s in Atos is basically like, when he was blue belt, was like purple belt world champion at his weight, brown belt world champion at his weight. And that was his training partners for 6 weeks. Like, there is a level that at a certain point, I think a coach has to be able to turn around and say, not that we've taken you this far, because we're still going to be in your corner and we still want to, like, as long as you have an affinity to us to want to represent us, you're representing us. But there is somebody right now, it would be disingenuous on our behalf to try and guilt you or manipulate you into staying here and not going and chasing this opportunity.
100%. And 1,000,000%. And she less represents us as much as we should be trying to represent her. Do you know? Like, someone of that level is so far and beyond, especially when they come from a environment like ours. It's not the same as one of the boys in Atos, right? Because there's 20 of them. Do you know?
Room for success.
Exactly. It is, if the opportunity arose for Zara to move to Brazil and train in Brazil and represent another team, Go and do that and represent that other team, because to me, the relationship is not coach student, is wow, that's so cool that I've seen you grow up to be able to do this. And if that is the thing that makes you take that next step, hey, it would be so cool if you didn't need to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to bring everybody along in the path. But if that opportunity arises, fucking yes, go and do that. Obviously, part of her success as well is that she's gone and lived with Fionn in New York for 2 or 3 months. Fionn had her stay in her house for a long fucking time. Things like that. Her boyfriend now, Paris, is like brown belt European champion last year. There's so many things other than me or Adam or Darragh or Marcus. There's so many factors. And like, I think it's fucking scabby when people are like, yeah, make sure you put the fucking patch on your back. Like, I don't care about that at all. I don't care about that at all. It is the only selfish thing about it. The only selfish thing. And this is to be completely honest about the situation. Yes, for a business run by 2 men, me and Adam, it is super cool that we have a female who is as good as she is. Now, that doesn't attract so many females. Obviously, jiu-jitsu is broadly a male-dominated sport, but I do think that it's super cool for how it looks outwardly that we have somebody as good as she is, a female, even though we don't have female head coaches. And as well, in a world with so much fucking inappropriate behavior between coach and student, I am proud of course, we've had arguments. Like, of course we have. But coach student arguments, I'm so proud that nothing has ever been inappropriate in a world where unfortunately that is often the norm. Do you know? So that's the only selfish thing that I see in it, do you know, is that like it does look pretty cool for us as men that our most successful student is a young woman, you know. And that's just being completely honest. But like, that's not what I care about. I care about her because I've known her since she was 10 years old, do you know?
Well, I suppose devil's advocate, there's like an age gap. There's nearly a protective thing. You've also got girls of Zara's age now training in your academy.
Of course.
They now see that pathway, or a 10-year-old maybe isn't thinking that way, but the parents are. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, you want the parents to know that they're coming here to a good place. This has worked for someone before. We know what we're doing as owners and operators. You can put your trust in us. Do you know what I mean? In a world of John DuPont's, be it Chris and Adam Leddy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Foxcatcher guy, is it?
Foxcatcher guy.
Yeah.
So before
what it is.
Before I let you go, any parting wisdom you'd like to drop on the listeners? 2 hours and 48 minutes we've been here, Chris. I'm sorry.
No way, is it? Yeah. It's the longest I've sat down in a minute, mate. It's the longest I've sat down after the surgery in a minute. I'm feeling okay. Feeling okay so far. Yeah, one last thing to say. Last thing to say. We do this because it's fun. It is not as deep as many people let it be for themselves. And there's so much talk about all of the good and bad and the different political affiliations, especially of some of the big famous jiu-jitsu people, and different relationships are made and broken over things that happened in the gym. We do this because it's fun. And I speak to Darragh about this all the time. He recently had another really bad flare-up of really, really bad disc problem, and there's different doctors telling him to do different things. Luckily, he's doing a lot better now. All I care about is being able to have a few rolls. That is all I care about. That is what I miss so much. I actually had a dream the other night, the most boring dream ever, that I was just rolling in the gym. And I remember I woke up from the dream thinking, no. I woke up from the dream thinking, Jesus, that wasn't so bad, actually. My back actually feels pretty good. And then I was like, oh, fuck, that was a dream. Do you know? Yeah. Like, it was so realistic. I was just having a few boring rolls. That is all I care about. I do not care about going to a competition. I do not care about having successful students. Obviously I do. But for me, my involvement in jiu-jitsu is because I love jiu-jitsu. If I wanted to be rich, I would get a different job. If I just love doing jiu-jitsu, I'm not the best. I'm not even the best in my gym at jiu-jitsu. I'm certainly not the best in Ireland at jiu-jitsu. but I just fucking love it. And that's all I care about. Whereas I think that there's a lot of people, especially in the younger generation coming up, who I want to be on this show. I want to be on that show. My path to success needs to be this. I need to get a sponsorship. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to post about it all the time. Do you like it or not? Do it as much as you can. Love it. And when you stop loving it and you start thinking about all these other things, that's when it goes south, you know. So yeah, just do it because you like it. End of story.
There you go. A very, very light ending. Obviously, Grapple King's not around anymore. The McGahan Leddy commentary partnership has ended for now, but I know the community were behind it. We got
some of them anyway.
Well, we'll find out after this episode releases who's on whose side.
What's this releasing in 5 parts? Is it 5?
Nope,
this is your next 5 episodes.
This is going to be I'm going to put the audio up as one go. I don't care. Audio up as one go. YouTube video up as one go. And maybe we will be reunited on Matt's side on a grappling show some point in the near future.
Yeah, I'm going to beat you in the next Irish Open final as well, mate. By the way,
you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I didn't bring it up. So
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, see it.
Cut that bit. No, I'll thankfully, competitively, we're 1-1.
Are we?
You bet me in the Dublin Open.
Okay.
I did
after just 1-1, is it? It's just 1-1.
We've only competed against each other twice, yeah. 1-1.
Okay.
Dublin Open and Irish Open. But you're now too old. So you're
No, I can drop down, mate. Anytime.
You're a Masters 2 competitor, and I am going to retire after the end of this year anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that's the end of the episode. I'm going to press stop on this button. You're going to stay there for a second. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can follow Chris, Coach_Chris_DGR. You can follow BJJ Bray, at Chris Leddy JJ, and at Consistently Above Average to follow me. Thank you very much, everyone. Chat to you next.